Just start jingling my jester bells, will I?
Funny enough, I think my audio capture is also a little louder. But it also can't just be me that, like, suddenly everybody's environmental sounds seem like twice as hecking loud as normal.
Can you hear anything on my end?
Sometimes, yes. I didn't want to cuss because I think we just started the video part of the show. Hi, welcome to the spring forward episode of Rain. So things are probably going to be a little weird.
Okay, it took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out we sprung forward.
Well, it's pretty easy for me. I was awake when we did it, so all my computers just magically are like,
I
oh, yes, we're
was
fine.
as, I was as well, but I was like, I'm probably just tired and hallucinating that we went an hour forward in time.
Also, to put in perspective, this is being recorded the same weekend as the Leslok FGO, where I also still seem to have maybe a minor stomach bug or something. So if I also seem slightly more out of it than usual, I'm distracted because I feel cruddy, but I'm not like dying. So we're still playing. The
And we
episode
appreciate our
is
GM for this.
yes. This episode is brought to you and presented to our lovely patrons like Adam DeHart, Black as the G, Gomi Zed, Carlos, Dragon, JDV 9000, Starlight, Legendary Boss Hunter, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Sharvor, some guy named Bob, and Varian the Crow. Thank you very much for your support. And much like it is for me in real life, you are in the middle of a dark and stormy night, except it's not night yet. It's like 4 in the afternoon.
It was a dark and stormy dusk.
But it is still raining. It's not like as spooky raining as it was when there were ghosts and ghoulies outside, but you are all wet. All of you. Every single one of you.
Soaked.
Yes.
I know this feeling.
I think a couple of you talked about how you do own, the wet weather cloaks, but you guys have been fighting and casting spells and stuff. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. So I know that the wraith exploded into shards of shadows anticipated. What happened to the slimes, the dark slimes?
So the formless devils just kind of like lose their consistency when they ran out of wound boxes and have started to basically rapidly get washed away in the rain.
Okay.
You've got the light because at least for the first couple seconds of after the combat, Sister Mercedes is still running her light spell. You can probably see the like stains in the grass where clearly there is some kind of like moving oil slick creature was here.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, that is rapidly expiring in the rain.
All right. Just making sure like it wasn't just gonna leave like some sort of blob on the ground. If it's getting washed away, that's fine.
I blame just the shared brain rot I have with Lucky. Even though they're not on or, like alive anymore, I can just hear in my head.
Fucking heck dies, right?
Yeah.
That was the joke we made last week.
I wish I had a gif of the heck die moving in that quest, just so people would understand.
Yeah. Just the way it moved and undulated, it's like it's running, it's trying.
It's trying.
As usual, I believe only Logesh was injured in that fight.
Yes, I was injured.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I am on a streak. I am on a streak of 2 combats without being injured.
Good for you. He's trying, chat.
Clearly, we just need to fucking like weld a shield to Logesh's arms.
We use a
Yeah,
two-handed
you should
weapon.
get him well, he doesn't. I don't think he's got far enough in any polar specific techniques if they even let him one-hand it.
I don't even know what tree is like fully.
There's a couple different ones. I'm pretty sure there's one that lets you multitask polearm and parry. He may want to invest in that one. But let's see, that's illumination. It's equal to height. I don't remember exactly what you rolled, but it was a few minutes. So probably what you guys should do is go back in through the front gate and go back to the main hall of the convent, inside, where it is no longer raining.
Where it is no longer raining. Give me
Let's get out of the rain and discuss what just happened. Sorry, I think I interrupted Lucky as he was about to say something.
I believe Lucky was saying, just 1 second.
Yep.
He was
Okay.
thinking
Never
about
mind.
something.
Never mind.
Okay.
But yes.
Just checking. All right. So yes, you were put back in the chapel main hall, where previously it seems like some of the junior sisters, who you guys warned to go back to their dorms, were lighting some candles. So, probably there is, further candles being lit. Mercedes probably dismisses the illumination spell and, sends off, for some, I don't know if it would really be towels per se, but, some
Linens?
linens for you to dry off, somebody to, go to the kitchens and, warm up some more tea or something. Get you a barrel of warm coals to warm up by, etc.
Etc. Etc.
Eccetera, eccetera.
And Logesh. 7. Okay. Oop, no. Please type Y, not. 4 8s.
Whoa.
That's all 8s.
I think you're getting
so,
healed, buddy.
Yes. On the off chance you had any damage in hit location 8, 4 shock and 4 killing are gone. If that is not the location you're hit, which I know it isn't, basically it moves wherever you had damage. I assume 4 healing, 4 shock, and 4 killing fixes everything wrong with you.
Yes, I believe I only took shock.
Yeah.
Let me double check.
Hey, Lay on Hands is a very good spell for
Really is.
Intensity 1.
Also, it's not attuned, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
If
If I wasn't already considering 3 different spellcasting disciplines, I would probably consider just taking it for Lay on Hands.
I am no longer having 3 shock in my right arm.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
And it was just shock, so it'd be pretty easy to fix. Technically, we just finished an encounter, so it should have gone down to 2, because I believe you remove half.
You move half after the encounter.
Shock, yeah.
Yeah, for
Half
shock.
rounded
So
down.
it would be just 2, but we wrapped that up because I rolled amazing.
We were dying.
Yeah, you say you rolled. Well, I do not want to discredit this, but Sister Mercedes has a Master Die in Dragon Sorcery?
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention to that last time because I'm pretty sure that would have came up when she cast Illumination.
Yes.
And it's just one of those things of like, huh?
You guys were thinking, yeah, no, she's 3 plus MD or 4 plus MD? Yeah, 4 plus Master Die in Dragon Sorcery.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
She's very practiced.
Before we go any further, I'd like to apologize in advance if I am goopy today.
He gooped.
Because of the sudden drop in temperature, thanks to the tropical cyclone, I have had to go from very hot to, oh god, it's cold.
Hold on.
Listen,
No problem.
just a funky day. All right,
a
but
fun-
yes.
We're no stranger to people being goopy.
No.
Yeah,
It's
we
usually
should
me
be
or Omega.
Sometimes Lucky is.
I will try. But, so the reason why I say that is because I can't express it right now, but Logesh would express the appropriate thanks and gratitude.
I mean that. Yeah, that is. There you go. You did it.
My thanks and gratitude.
Not that part.
I feel that. I really do.
I told you it's gonna be a wacky, wild one. Anyway, yes. So, that happens. You know, Sister
Is that
Mercedes
Teine?
places a hand, and you know your wounds and bruising are magically fixed. Everybody has a second to, like I said, start warming up. Maybe take off your outer layer of clothing. You know, wring it out, sort of a thing.
Inos just, remarks to the side. Well, that was bracing. Sister, do you often have, escaped denizens of the underworld and show up at your doorsteps?
You know, you say this as a joke, but after healing Logesh, she turns. Still, by the way, she's holding the silver sword she summoned in her offhand, because she's not wearing a scabbard, so it's kind of stuck here. But she says, fairly seriously, "Oh no, never."
Lovely. If I didn't know any better, I'd say we're being followed by fate. Seems we can't go anywhere without something happening.
This
Well-
does seem to occur
Yeah.
with some regularity to you. Based
It's
on
not like half our number keep looking for it or nothing.
You are in no place to talk, good sir.
Who do you think is included in the half?
Good. But
Actually, honestly, it's pretty much just not you.
Konrad, your thoughts on this?
Well, every Conrad's considers it to him.
Cold. Good fight, though.
Yes, well done, everyone.
Yes. I think.
Okay, so for those not informed or aware, what did we just fight?
Leslok looks at Inos as being like, "Do you want me to, or you want to go?"
Well, I'm most familiar with the Manda-shaped thing. That is what's known as a wraith. If you may have noticed, I was a little heated upon seeing it. The reason why is that wraiths are generally considered those who have gone to the 9 hells, decided not to repent for their sins, and somehow escaped. Generally, they are the most foul, atrocious, unrepentant piles of slag the world has ever seen. And as you may have guessed, they like to cause no end of trouble. What wraiths can actually do, though, unfortunately, I am not so familiar with. I just know what they are, and that whenever I see one, I must put it back into the ground, where it belongs.
Yeah, if it sets you off like that, must be some pretty serious news.
Well, yes, for lack of a more adequate term, it is very serious. Because as you may know, my people used to be the jailers and guardians of the 9 hells. It wasn't until our grandest of mothers moved to the other side that we were relieved of that duty. Said part of that duty is making sure that no one got in and no one got out. We may not officially, I guess for lack of a better word, hold the same position, but deep in our hearts of hearts, we will always be the guardians to the underworld.
Okay.
And in a strict theological sense, says Sister Mercedes, there is a fairly well delineated difference between the underworlds and the vaults of heaven. And the Septuscript is slightly unclear on the capability of mortal souls to escape their punishment for sins. But it is never not suggested that it is not possible to move around in life after death. So it is very. She kind of pauses, purses her lips, stares at the candles a little bit. Well, quite simply, it's rather unnatural to see them on this side at all. They're dead, or undead, or spent so much time on the other side that they should be considered mostly dead. I believe that his lordship would have the most experience with that third category. I've never personally experienced the other side myself, but from study, I believe it is recalled that, well, at least she wouldn't say in Sunday school, because I don't know if we've decided that your equivalent of Sunday is your holy day of the week. Though it does have sun in it, so that does sound right.
Sunday.
But she does say, in a church school, that's always what they told us would happen if there was ever a breach in the veil that you tried to walk through. Jealous wraiths will try and, steal your life force.
And they, cousin or sister, feel free to share your. Why am I doing fucking? What accent was that?
I don't know what accent you're doing right now.
Why they know? Dear cousin or sister, feel free to give your input on this. But can these creatures be controlled at all?
Inos kind of ponders on that, and so I don't exactly know. There are all sorts of magics and summonings and bindings one can do, but I have personally never heard of one to specifically bind the souls of the dead. That seems, well, for lack of a better term, blasphemous.
Oh, it is very heretical, yes.
So,
Master Inos may not have experienced that particular study, but I would hope, she shoots an aside glance at Conti, who kind of, just bows his slightly soggy hat to her, would be familiar with the conscripts of the constraints of the Septascript. Violating the realms of the dead is against both the general ethos of the Church of the Seven and also one of the things that is strictly prescribed under the covenant by the Deatasta herself. There are
I understand.
There are pre-covenant methods of sorcery that seem to exist, which may interact with discarded bodies, souls, minds. The Wraith is not quite those things anymore. Again, if you're, as Master Inos I'm sure knows, if you are deceased, you are deceased. Your soul and your body are separate.
Mm-hmm.
And at least as far as we know, other than praying for intervention at the moment of death, there's not really a lot you can do about that. But there are, as I said, rumors of interactions.
Okay,
the Wraith is, I think it's safe to say, fairly monstrous in nature. And I do know is something that was governed once upon a time by the summon craft.
Inos looks quite pensive at that.
So theoretically, there we go, I got it back. Theoretically, if a individual were to have absolutely no compunctions as in relating to the church or gods, and in a matter of fact were diametrically opposed to them, they would possibly be able to you've heard there's possibilities of controlling these things.
Well, yes.
She Sister Mercedes kind of folds her arm and says, I admit it's been some time since I've been to Nolan, but I do not assume that your realm is in such a state that you do not occasionally still meet the agents of the Inquisitorius. Has there truly been no rumors or investigations of Maleficarum in your time there?
Actually, that's a good question. Like,
I remember them being delayed for a few years.
well, no, it's just like, no, that is a good question. I don't think we actually have like mini Inquisitorium on Nor Lawn. Like, I don't know if we've actually ever heard of them.
No, we do. We officially have one. I remember because they were one of the candidates for the new person Majiggy.
Was there?
Yeah, it was one of them.
No, because one was like a group of like proto archaeologists and scholars who was the progressive one. Then we had the moderate one, who is your cousin somewhere.
Yes,
and then we
cousin.
had the traditionalist one who already worked with our previous.
He was a town priest, a parish priest.
Yeah.
I remember the situation where we talked to the some of the Inquisitors.
I could have sworn it was a retired. Let me rephrase that. It was a retired Inquisitorum, but it might be in my brain.
Like, I will not. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but let me get this out. So, like, I will not recall, like, say I have perfect memory of that, but in my Swiss cheese of a mind, I do not recall like us ever meeting with any Inquisitors or those affiliated with them. That's why Inos was like very interested in the Inquisitor we met back at Weirwind Keep.
Yeah, because I remember the ones we met. We were in Keep. We're talking about, or at least Omega mentioned we were talking about that. Like, Inquisitors don't really go to Norland.
Well,
so they don't have much experience of actually fighting Monstrum.
Well, no, it's not that. It's that we have the Silver Tower, and to a lesser degree the Iron Demon. We're pretty good at self-policing ourselves.
Yes, that's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Is that the Silver Tower technically has two different ordos, because there is a Order of the Silver Tower, which is the like clerical order of soul crafters you have, of enchanters, and then there is a chivalric order whose job it is to protect the tower, the stuff in the tower, and the enchanters also inside the tower.
And do remember, I believe, if I'm not misremembering my own father in story, isn't he also like one of the head of religious organizations in?
Not
Norlan?
strictly religious, but
is
the court's head almoner.
Yeah, the almoner. That's what I was thinking.
So he is in charge of alms for the poor, etc.
Yeah. So, like, the Iron Demons and the Silver Tower have a pretty good relationship, and if you remember, Iron Demons don't like necessarily truck with people using their abilities to cause a fucking problem. And, they double down on that if someone is, disturbing the dead. Yep. If someone is in Norlong trying to summon the souls of the dead to do their bidding, they're going to get a very polite knock on their door and say, "Hello, would you like to meet our goddess personally?"
And I think that, like, the Lamplighters, strictly speaking, duty, like, those guys are your, I guess I would say almost like paramilitary. Like, they're part police, part military. Their primary purpose is to keep your roads and towns secure from monsters. But also, I would expect that because they're, like, roving the countryside, the middle of the night or the dead of winter, if there was any, like, spooky cult rituals happening in a forest, the Lamplighters would probably at the very least be like, all right, what's all this then?
Yeah.
You doing an heresy down here?
Yes, but, but yes, Inos will respond. It's like, actually, no. Between the Silver Tower and the Iron Demons themselves, we generally don't get a lot of reports of heresy. I don't think the Inquisitorium has had much reason to step on Norlon in, I don't even know how long.
Pretty sure they've come and checked out the relics and stuff like that, like they did at, I forget the Dragon's Fire.
Weirwind Keep. Yeah.
Yes, actually, it was actually quite. Yes, no, it's like, actually, I only met. an inquisitor for this time the past week? Yeah, it's been like less than a week.
It was like 2 weeks.
Oh no, 2 weeks. We did a boat ride. That's right.
Yeah.
Like within the past month.
I have seen a few around Norlon, but once again, they mostly keep their business in the Silver Tower, checking in with the, what'd you say they were?
It should just be the Order of the Silver Tower.
The Order of the Silver Tower, so it's mostly in an administrative, speaking words, administrative capacity.
That actually does make sense.
Sister Superior kind of nods and says, "Yes, and I'm sure that's very pleasing to the Witchfinder General. But yes, so
pleasing to my
if you
father.
don't mind an outsider's commentary, there are usually in parts of Troikoron various rumors, legends, stories about many different things you can do with sorcery. Officially, what the church deems this is maleficarum, sometimes simply said to witches, though as I'm sure you've noticed, that one is a broad term. But there are a number of different things you can do with almost all the supported sorceries that are possible but not sanctioned. The Alchemical College probably gets the lion's share of the Inquisition's examinations simply because of how accessible their discipline is.
So they ask you
Also, I would hazard the guess to say it's probably related to the general lackadaisical attitude some in the college have towards safety.
Yes, but on paper, the Order of the Holy Inquisition's job is to investigate all manner of heretical and uncertain activity. And if it is a threat to the people or the spiritual health of the realm, they are supposed to help police it. If it is merely a matter for mortals, it should be reported to the Crown Constables. I suspect that means that, for the most part, as Lord Marshal, Leofric kept things fairly well policed. But, yes, I should say, she, nods at Kefis, who is, kind of standing with you.
Mm-hmm.
About to say, he's like, maybe like rubbing his hands together, warming them, but definitely Kefis is writing a lot of mental notes right now.
Mm-hmm.
His book's going to be killer someday. But normally, this sort of activity is almost completely unheard of on Trone itself. As I said, I have literally never run into a wandering spirit like that on the island, a malicious entity. There are reports of occasional hauntings and shades down here in the river country, but monstrum? No, almost never. Formless devils as well. I'm not an expert, but I also believe that those are a common occurrence on the other side, but are not naturally born on this side. Not like you would expect from a sea monster or a warg or something.
Well, unfortunately, I believe there's only two ways to take this. Either it just so happened to show up just as we were all here, a complete another coincidence with no other rhyme, reason, or wherewithal. Or it was done intentionally and someone is keeping more tabs on us than previously assumed. If it is indeed the latter, then I must apologize profusely to you, sister. We have brought danger to your doorstep.
I mean, it's not like we've pissed off any heretical orders recently.
Very
Yeah.
seriously, I think Sister Mercedes just says, Scions of House Logi, you do walk a darkling path sometimes. And if my understanding of our conversation in my study, she phrases this very carefully now, not actually mentioning what you talked about, you may have more such journeys ahead. Actually, I think, by the way, saying now could be a perfectly good time for Leslok to bring up that point.
I should likely add in that, in my understanding of things, it is more often than not. Well, I know for Veilcraft you can make someone more attractive to ghosts and other monstrum and whatever the like. Though, to actually get something to appear and do what you want it, or to go somewhere you will it to, you have to know its name. And even more so, a summoner would be, in fact, be the matter of something of a summoner who has a pact of said monstrum. Otherwise, they couldn't summon it in order to do anything it wanted. Means we killed something it pacted with, or it's something I just don't know is possible.
I've always heard the stories of, heretics and maleficars summoning shadowy monsters to chase down their enemies, but again, I thought those were... Well, I should not shock you, my lords, to understand that young ladies in convent also tell scary stories to frighten each other out of chores at night.
Well, it's been my experience that sometimes said stories have a modicum of truth in them, unfortunately. But, that being the case, I fear that we probably should not tarry here over long.
Five. To summon something means you have to be nearby to do it.
Well... Sister Mercedes kind of, plucks back a couple of stray strands of her hair. Not exactly.
Actually,
But my understanding of the art of names is that if you were to perform summonings from a great range, that would mean that you would have to be very skilled. Of which, of course, officially, there are no such summoners anymore.
None that are known publicly, yes.
what is this board, and why does it have a bunch of red string connected to pictures on it right now?
That's mine. Don't pay attention.
We'll need that one later, but not now.
Kevin's in the corner. I've invented the cork board. And look at these push pins.
Okay, what? Oh god, I want you to come along. Maybe you'll help us. We actually have a conspiracy on our fucking.
I've put little bits of colored glass on the end of each of them so you can follow them. Yes, no.
Neat.
Mercedes kind of puts the sword up and kind of rests on her shoulder. Well, if there's anything further to our conversations you wish to ask, now would be a good time while you are drying yourselves. Other than that, I suspect that, yes, you should return to Logrin Lake and, if not the specifics, inform the Lady Pale about this occurrences and perhaps extend yourself to her hospitality this evening.
Yes.
Yes.
I should note, just what's her proper title?
Sister Superior, but just Sister is fine.
Yeah.
I should note, Sister. While this being targeted at our group seems entirely too likely based on the level of excitement we expect these days, it should be noted it is possible this is a targeted attack against you, so I do want you to be careful.
Oh, I will be quite cautious, but I suspect if anyone wished to assassinate me, they would have probably done it by now. And probably used methods that were more difficult for me personally to deal with than sorceress enemies. I'm not really that good of a fencer.
Just something to keep in.
Actually, there is something I would like to speak to you about, sister, but it is more of a private matter. Inos will turn to the rest and is like, I'm sure you won't mind if I have a quick word with the sister, do you? While everyone sets up. Wait, did we come here by carriage?
No, you came by boat and walked.
Boat. That's right.
You boated across the lake.
Yeah, I have a boat.
Your poor boatman is probably very wet right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And depending on how far away he was, very scared.
Probably.
I don't know. It's in the combat, so I think you gotta like see and hear.
Yeah.
Hear, feel, think. But like I said, Enos did direct that question to all of you. So if any of you is going to take umbrage that Enos wants to have a private talk with the sister.
Hold on, I have to quote a great scripture. Fine then, keep your secrets.
I would like to have a discussion with her about her own history of certain things, but that can wait. Maybe another time.
I mean, did you want to have a private? Did you want to have a private discussion with her about the history of certain things? This is out of character, by the way.
I want to talk to her obviously about like how long. So like, when did you figure out you're a miracle worker, and who taught you summon craft? But I don't know if that's like out over the line, and I don't feel like doing it. It being private's more on her end if you wanted to be.
I mean, I don't know when we're going to be able to come back and talk with her again, so it's might be now or never.
Yeah, because unfortunately, this again out of character, Enos' line of question is also going to be on her being a miracle worker and her summon craft. And I really don't want to subject Sister Mercedes to the exact same line of conversation in two separate conversations. That seems...
I mean, okay, out of character, I assume you're going to be asking for, at least partly for,
Oh no, it's complete. Yeah, it's completely for Alestra.
Alestra's sake?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll let you handle this one, because you're less likely to stick your foot in your mouth. So
I guess how this works
is... I think Mercedes can cut
telekinetic vibe
I
check.
suspect I understand the direction of some of the conversation. It should not need to be that private. At least on the simple matter. After all, you have quite openly seen me use several sorceress disciplines. She gestures with one hand towards Logesh and the other with the sword she's holding.
Yes. Well, I did not want to... Well, I did mean to pry, but...
Be out at the boat.
Thank you, Konrad.
Yeah, I'll go with Konrad.
A moment, Sir Logesh.
Oh?
Then, if this is to be our parting, she turns to you and will actually turn around the silver blade she has and hold it out to you hilt first. I see that among your members, most of you seem to be armed with, quite frankly, an astonishing amount of magical, with a K, weaponry. But you yourself, sir, seem armed with something fairly mundane. I believe that this blade, Argent Light, may be able to help you.
Argent Light, let's go! Oh, I see what you did there.
How,
So
considering what happened earlier, how often would I be using it only for it to go flying off in your direction?
That's kind of rude.
It's a concern.
She kind of, chuckles a little and says, there would be no need for that. If I did require it back, of course, I could simply call it, but I believe that is not going to be needed. If you must know, I believe this to be one of the 13 blades of Veritas's Chalice Knights. I discovered it in the lake water not far from here when I came to the convent.
Must hold myself back.
Vivian, she is not.
Out of character. Out of character. Does Konrad have a magical fucking weapon?
Yeah, he has silver
I
tongue.
mean, he has an orichalcum.
God damn. Okay,
rapier,
so it's
and
just
he's
me.
currently carrying a silver tongue.
Point of
He
fucking
also has
order.
the-
I don't have a magic weapon. I just have a really cool chain.
I mean, you're
I
carrying
also-
a calamitous blade.
True enough.
But also,
also-
yes, you just have a chain.
I
You're
also
not-
don't have a magic weapon, nor should I have a magic weapon.
Konrad also has,
Needed at something.
No,
I
you
mean,
have magic
among
weapons. You throw
primary
grenades.
Sword wielders among you,
That's true.
2 of them have magical swords. Inos does not use a magical sword, but does own one.
Ironically, he's going to enchant his chain eventually.
Eventually, yes.
Okay.
But out of the fighters, yes.
This is a remarkably generous gesture. It would be extremely rude of me to decline. I thank you for this gift.
Of course. And perhaps... No, that's a childish thought. I was going to say, mayhaps you may progress our centuries-old quest for the chalice, but it's a humble joke. No, take this. She hands you the blade. Let me make sure I'm spelling that correctly.
In the back of my head, it's like, Logesh, why not? I'm not saying that out loud. It's like, why not?
The fact that he made that comment, I'm trying to not make Monty Python jokes. I'm trying.
Leslok will add.
So the Argent is a long sword, so it's with +1 killing. But also, instantly, upon picking it up, this is an artifact with the capital
boy.
A. So there is a sorcery spell embedded in it.
A new hand touches the beacon.
Don't you fucking dare.
No, not that. Anything but that. I would literally rather die. But I will not.
Spoil what it is.
I will not say what the spell is called. But I will post to you the effect, so you can cast this spell, which has this effect. This is a combative instant spell. You roll this, and you should jot this down with 8d. You do not actually need to have whatever sorcery school this is, and in fact, you don't get to know what sorcery school this is from. You roll it with just the sorcery pool that the person who made it had. Also, I can tell you, technically, the spell has a prep or material component that you have to be wielding a bladed weapon. Because it's embedded in a sword, you don't have to worry about that.
All right, I'll wait for Loth to copy it over to a sheet.
8. Yep, I wrote it 8d10.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Okay, well, hold on. I am an idiot. I wrote down longsword instead of Argent Light. What the fuck? No, I wrote Argent Light down there. What the... Sorry.
Fine, just take your time. Go again.
No. I accidentally copy-pasted the spell to be underneath longsword instead of Argent Light. Making it seem like the longsword has this. Anyway. I'm finished writing it down. Thank you very much.
I just want to add that it's a blade of celestial silver. No monstrum or ghast will be able to ignore its sting, so keep that in mind.
Oh, okay.
You right there, Loth?
Oh, I'm being in character for this. I'm like, okay, cool. Delicately put sword in sheath.
Yeah.
Don't be brash of it, you'll be fine.
Words cannot express My gratitude? Elation? Thanks? I'm feeling a mixed range of emotions right now. I'm sorry.
She kind of just nods her head and says, "Yes. Well, I believe that you are going to continue your collective quest into matters occult and sublime. You may need such things."
Yeah. No, you're very right.
She also has something to present to Kefis, but that can wait till a different time. So some of you are going to go about your business back to the boat.
Yep.
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 And I believe that Leslok and Inos will probably return to the study with the sister.
Yes.
That's
Also, just to make this clear, I'm fine leaving a bit early so you could have a few private bits of her at the end. I feel like
Well,
that's
if
probably other lines
I
out.
want to have a few private moments at that thing, we will see.
Okay.
Yes.
Unless you, the Marquis, orders me to follow you, I will do what I want.
I'm gonna go to the boat.
Yes,
That,
yes.
that,
You go
that,
to the
that's
boat.
fair. I just want to tell you ahead of time. At least that's what I was like coordinating around.
Anyway, I out of character know what you're going to ask about. So where do we start?
Inos will look to Leslok and be all like, and I'm sorry. Instantly, I was about to say something. My mind just completely blanked. I'm sorry. Inos will look to Leslok and go, it's like, well, don't be shy.
I'm not that familiar with, I guess, dragon sorcerers or miracle workers, whatever parlance. Was it always a thing from birth, or is something you picked up as time went?
My abilities as a miracle worker are an expression of my faith and devotion. I have spent much of my life in religious scholarship and education, as many of my house do. And some of it is perhaps a personal quirk, as out of my siblings I am the only one to have such gifts. But again, perhaps of singular focus. But yes, I have spent, long years in both study and dedication to perform these abilities.
So these were not abilities you had at birth. I see.
Oh no, the miracle working at birth is not unheard of, but very rare. It mostly makes sense, as if you extend the non-attuned form of dragon sorcery as the miracles of the devoted to Hydrus, prayers for intervention and such like, I doubt there are many infants who inherently possess such faith.
I see. Inos, goes quiet again, because this is me giving Leslok the chance to speak more.
I wish I was less tongue-tied then, but...
Well, it is what it is.
It is what it is, but if you are tongue-tied, I will continue then.
Go.
It's like, I see. And forgive my prime, but I did notice that you did call a sword to your hand. I'm not completely sure, but I believe that is summoning?
Yes, indeed, it is summoncraft. I believe you may recall, during my earlier stories, that I discussed that we did clash several times with Miss Charlotte the Witch. There were a couple of occasions where myself and Lady Cressida and a few of Leofric's other associates, I would say, won out, forcing her to abandon a few of her things. And it just so happens that perhaps in one of my trunks upstairs, I do own, a few books here and there, grimoires of names and the like. I must admit, it is a different discipline than dragon sorcery. Both require force of will, but in very different aspects. She kind of, holds out her left hand, which she used to conjure light earlier, and, kind of flexes it a little and says, I'm not sure how, for either of you, as esteemed sorcerers in your own right, but to work miracles is an act of faith. It is about letting go, admitting you are not in control, and letting the higher powers of the sun flow through you. When I heal, I simply cast myself on the whims of the 100 crowns and pray for it to be done. Similar with other such miracles. Summoning is more about force of will and control, enforcing what you say on the world. As you may have noticed, I am not too embarrassed to admit that I did attempt to call lightning earlier and it did not respond. It's quite tricky that way.
I see.
It requires not just the knowledge of the names of things, but the will and effort to have their commands carried out. It is why that your assumptions in my, in the front hall were not incorrect about pacts and calling monstrum, but anyone who would be able to do so would, of course, have to have immense force of will and practice.
I see. Back on the subject of dragon sorcery, though. Like, you said something interesting in that yours is through, an application of fate and letting go of control. But haven't there been instances of people being born controlling the dragon sorcery and being able to cast regardless? How does that work?
Well, she kind of, strokes her chin and says, I am not an expert as, well, working of miracles is technically a separate department of the church. To my own humble domain leading this convent, I did not require formal instruction as such, as more merely applied myself to my abilities. But if I were to posit based on experience, I think there are perhaps 2 or 3 explanations. The first is the simplest, it is a manifestation of the blood of the dragon. It would mean that a person showing abilities of minor miracle working is descended in some distant way from High King Wyn. Regardless of distance, there is supernatural power in blood. Hydra's created us from blood, and by blood we are all tied. As everyone does bleed. But those who do not have, have not consumed a dragon heart will not possess the full breadth of those sorceress abilities. The other would be, however unlikely, it would be itself a miraculous event. If one was born with miraculous power, it would likely be a sign of the sublime. She's kind of like speaking in a way that she sounds like she's kind of like hedging her statements a little.
I see.
I would be cautious about any persons who claim such intercessions. Since the Reformation, the Church of the Seven is quite strict about what we do and do not officially quantify as a miracle. And the spontaneous performing of miracles is usually considered one of the categories that makes a person liable for sainthood. Only one of them, should you be getting any strange ideas about my own position within the church. I have no illusions that I am venerated.
Inos slightly chuckles about this.
Huh.
Interesting. So, if someone was to manifest Dragon's Mystery as infinite, the church would basically just snatch them up and parade them around as a new saint or something.
She kind of does a chuckle. Oh, good heavens, probably not.
Hmm.
As I said, the Reformation occurred several hundred years ago now. I'm sure that your own people's faith would be unaffected by the structural changes of the church, but this did require a very strict reorganizing of what exactly the powers of the Church of the Seven and the Pontifex and the Clerical Council are versus the powers of the High King, the King's Council, and so forth, and the High Houses. Since that time, strictly speaking, it has been clarified through pontifical decrees and the decisions of various meetings of the Clerical Council that we do not lightly give the claims of a living saint. Typically, for one to be declared a saint, it is only done these days posthumously. The possibility of a living saint would be very controversial. I wouldn't say it would be upsetting, but it would require a very strict investigation by the Secretariat of the Saints and probably by the Holy Inquisitorius. Such an investigation could simply conclude that while miraculous, the person in question is not a saint themselves. After all, miracles themselves could be seen as intercession by a different venerated power through the work of Hydrus directly or another saint.
I see.
I want to say this. At no point, I think we discussed, I do not think Alestra has been casting dragon sorcery since she was a baby.
No,
That probably would have been found out.
No.
But it does seem like from your discussion with Mercedes that manifesting even a couple of simple abilities at her relatively young age is what we would call miraculous.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Is she a living saint?
Probably
Well,
not.
You don't fucking know a lot about saints.
No.
Probably not. Maybe a god was just like, oh, that family's gonna be fucked. Maybe we should give them some help.
Yeah, maybe it may be divine entrance, just be random manifestation, but this is one of the reasons why Inos was coming to talk to someone in the church that he felt he could probably trust.
Yes.
Like, he's still not gonna be like, oh yeah, no, we totally got, a dragon sorcerer in our back pocket. We're keeping her hidden, though. Don't tell anyone. I do not want to make Mercedes have to make that choice, so...
No, because if
Hey, guess what? I can tell you right now, she's not great at lie.
Yeah, so...
It's also, if someone above her in rank asked, she would probably oblige.
Yeah, so no.
Well,
so I am...
One of the oaths of being a priest is obedience.
Yeah.
This is actually something that is interesting to note. I brought this up. Just to spell out the subtext for the people in the back. Her generation of House Verity, 3 siblings, right? Her eldest sister, Clemence, is the royal chaplain, the clerk of the closet, the bishop of Lampclare, effectively the High King's personal priest and a member of the clerical council. She's very, very highly ranked in the church, in that she's one of 13 seats which are immediately below the Pontifex, who is supposed to be, the earthly authority on all matters spiritual.
The big cheese.
Okay,
yes.
So she's only... Okay.
Yeah, she is... It's not strictly an archbishophood, but yeah, she is a senior ranked bishop. She is effectively a cardinal, even though her position predates when they set up that stuff. Like I said, your religion had a reformation like 250 years ago, which, put a lot of names on stuff that was just kind of like loosey-goosey before. They came up with a lot of extra rules. And obviously their younger brother became the Duke of the family. Neither of them, as far as you know, have any magical abilities whatsoever or any other particular abilities. Duke Tellez is supposed to be, had a favorable birth. He shows, physical and, I guess, temporal. His horoscope was really good. Sister Mercedes is arguably very low ranked in the church. She's just a sister superior. She just heads a convent. But obviously she is pretty well read, seems decently politically connected. As mentioned, a lot of the girls in her convent are, daughters of noble houses. And obviously is a pretty experienced miracle worker. But yes, she does not on paper have a lot of authority in the church.
Okay.
So probably well connected, if not well respected.
Of course.
Or
Actually,
other way around.
I'm about to say, yeah, no, she's well respected, not well connected. She is informed, but there's not necessarily things she can do with said information. Besides maybe
on paper, talking about, differences in like power structure, her authority ends the moment you leave the convent ground.
Yeah.
She is in charge of the convent, and that's it.
Yeah.
But because she has a convent and has a bunch of young noble ladies in there, they probably still are receiving some support from their family and, probably look favorably upon the Sister Superior.
Yeah, if anything, she probably has more clout outside of the church hierarchy than inside it.
Maybe.
A fair political assessment. Also, just on paper, you guys have toured this convent. For a lakeside convent, fairly decently well funded.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Direct lines and all that.
So, let's see.
So any further comments or questions?
Let me see here. No, I think this. So if it was to get out that Alestra is, has spontaneously cast Dark Cats and Dragon Sorcery, the church would not probably snatch her up, as was previously feared, but would probably do make a big kerfuffle in an investigation. Which,
yes, speaking about your relationship with Inquisitors, that would probably require a pack of Inquisitorius to descend and, be like...
Fucking auditors.
All right. Oh, cool. Okay, we need to figure this shit out. Is this miraculous? Is this chick a saint? No, she's not a saint? Cool. Nobody say she's a saint?
And we're good.
We'll beat your ass with clubs.
And
We'll show you the comfy
Nicholas'
chair.
main motivation, however clumsy he may be about it, is that she get to live a relatively normal life.
Well, this is the other thing about this. While it might not make a huge kerfuffle, it would still mean that there is a quote unquote miracle worker outside doing existing. Like, it might not be the biggest hubbub in the church, but people still may want to use her.
Yeah, I didn't have you guys roll anything on it, but hopefully you heard me when I said it. The Sister Superior did make an aside comment about the Witchfinder General, which you guys would know is the highest ranked member of the Inquisitorian.
Yeah.
Also, spoiler, that's another reason why I was pushing so hard for my cousin to be the church representative in Norlon.
But yes, no. So, but no, this is I think. Sorry, I'm just thinking. I think that's all the things I want to talk about. Hang on, I actually wrote a list, but I didn't actually copy it down. Let me go find it on Discord. I know it's somewhere.
I've got nothing to add.
Well, you're not here. You're.
I got nothing to add. Crack soda.
Yeah, I was hoping I would open the thing at that time, but no, it took me a while to get my hands properly posted.
For anybody wondering, by the way, because advantages are pretty easy, the Sister Superior has Beauty 1, Status 1, Followers 1, Wealth 2.
Nice.
On her own.
Lines up.
But she does actually have a little bit of... What's your...
Well,
okay, no, this works. I was double checking her stats to see if I should have her roll empathy. She does not have any actual empathy, but she is sense 3, and I'm like, no, this tracks. She does actually have a little bit of lie, but not a lot of the extra empathy. So her ability to read read past this conversation, and I was wondering, like, will she pick up that there's something else going on when Inos asks these questions? No.
Funny how it's like I'm just here
3d10.
because
No.
I just find it hilarious. Like I've asked these questions out just purely out of actual curiosity.
Well, yeah, because you're the guy with no sorcery.
Yeah.
What was the
With
name
with
of that?
student of sorcerum.
Is it 3 right now?
Oh, here it is. Wait, nope, this is not it.
Nope, wrong one.
God, because I remember you asked, hey, what are you gonna go ask Sister Rary? And I wrote down the things, but I don't. I'm trying to remember
the writing down.
I think I addressed the core ones already. But
I guess I'll be off then. I don't remember the summoner part that well, but that's my own fault.
it was pretty straightforward. She just said that she's got some of Charlotte the Witch's books upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey, by the way, you also own a witch's books.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Remember that? We
Yeah.
stole the witch's books.
I have the tome of names.
I wonder if
I
you
don't
can
think
use that to track where we are.
It depends
Actually, I should
if
ask
the
about that.
book is named, but there's not, strictly speaking, a like tracking component to summoning, unless you have the pact. The
Well,
pact
that's
not allowed.
that's more.
And I don't. You can have a pact of a book. I think.
Leslok's domain. Although
Yes,
I
Brian
did just have a very bad thought on that note.
Ah, here we go. Let's see
Nope, he's
here.
found his list.
All right. I asked to tweet the beef between Mary and Logan, pitted places of power channel, knew the villains in the journal. Maybe we'll ask about some thoughts on miracle workers and what they go through, if she would know. Yeah, no, I think that covers everything I had.
All right.
Because
Yeah, that was one of those moments where you said if she would know, and that's when the gears lock in place in my brain, and I'm like, oh yeah, she'll know.
Actually, I now need to ask. This is kind of a silly question, I guess, but if I had, actually, I'll ask you guys. Would it be wrong if I bring up that I actually have? I've kept a list of names from another summoner.
Well, the question is it relevant?
Yes, because I'm curious if it's like, is it something worth keeping or getting rid of, and or if that would do anything at all.
So, oh my God, I had a question because this is relevant to what just happened earlier.
Yes.
So you said in order to scry on someone, they would need something named.
No.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
We'd also get
what's
to know
the
this.
requirements for Veilcraft scrying.
I'm checking.
Scry. I think you just do it. If you
In
want to like,
terms
track a
of
person, you gotta know.
Axe's question, as someone who out of character has not dipped too much into how magic works, I would. I don't know.
Like, if you wanted to maybe learn some summoning on your own, I don't know, maybe the Book of Names would help. I don't know exactly how that works.
I was wondering if the snake would be a problem.
Snake.
Scrying doesn't
you all
require
did the
attunement, so it doesn't require attunement.
A
It does
cynic
require...
snake.
Actually, does Summoncraft have any
I can
extra-
simplify that with, because I know Leslok has rolled sorcery before. No, to out of character, clarify a little. The way Summoncraft works is, again, you don't really like know where guys are. There is a thing you can do called the Pact, where you share names with a thing, which means that you each get power over each other. That does let you know generally the vague sense of like what direction they're in and if they're near or far. The creature you pact with has to have enough of an intelligence that you can actually like swap names. It is like you can use it on like large creatures to make summoning them simpler. But Great.
There's more, baby.
Great pun, Lucky. I like
How do you?
but
I guess
the snake is not a complex enough creature that you would need the pact. Like, I think the spell to summon the snake is like intensity 1 or 2.
I guess under that same logic, were those devils of any equal intelligence for the pact, or is it just can you summon things without the pact?
I believe you can do. You have
Because
to be
this-
attuned to do monstrous summoning.
Monstrous
but
summons that you need things you have the pact with.
Then yes, no, you must pact monstrum.
Probably negates that theory then.
But that's just a theory.
Don't you dare.
Anyway,
Let him rest.
No. Yes, no. I think I can simplify that conversation. If you do want to mention that you have also acquired a book of names, because it did literally come up in this conversation.
yes, I was just thinking book of names.
Basically, Mercedes can say that that is how she picked up a couple of tricks. It's not a perfect way to learn summon craft, because, like she said, it does require like mental discipline and practice. It is the sorcery that is tied to command.
Yeah.
But yes, that is how she learned, Call Lightning and Bound Blade, was she studied the names of things. So there are, unattuned names. Get there.
If anything,
Honestly,
I
be
might.
careful about picking new sorceries, like I said. If you control F that description I fed Loth, you will not find that in the sorcery list.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's probably in your secret list of stuff.
Secrets. Secret.
You'll see them someday.
That's probably never mind. That's just being malicious.
Yeah. Anyway, but no. Inos will keep Leslok from nattering on, and we will make our polite farewells. I was like, what's the opposite of an introduction?
We'll be on our ways.
Yes.
Goodbye.
And slightly,
so long.
damply get your way back.
Yes.
By the way, again, I don't intend it as a big scene, but it is something to note. The thing that Mercedes has for Kefis is she gives him a stick or a staff that's very elegantly polished. But guess what? Double secret catch. It's a sword staff.
Like, I'm starting to believe
so
that
he-
Kefis Verity is just Omega's self-insert PC at this moment.
Oh fuck! I've been making out. I've been
Joke's
making out
on
Omega.
you.
Fuck.
They're
No,
all
no,
my secret
He admits.
player characters. Every other character, even the bad guys, is really cool.
I mean, that's how it goes when you make a cast of characters you all need to care about somewhat.
Also, don't be too
I mean,
concerned.
actually, honestly, no joking. Yes, all of the major characters that you guys interact with a lot are like, all of them I have actually tried to give a lot of depth and breadth, and have scenes for them to be in for.
I need to work
Because
on that
that's,
for myself. But
like you said, pretty good to
I'm-
have cool beans.
I'm not gonna lie, Omega. When you said she passes Kefis a stick, I'm like, okay, yeah, what every guy wants, a really good stick.
It is a really good
He's a
stick though,
spy-
because it's got
yeah.
a sword blade in it.
that's truly.
It's not a stick that's pretending to be a sword. It's a stick that is actually a sword.
It's the most Loth thing I've heard all week.
Yeah, and
It's a
No, nothing
Wait,
else.
I was
That's
gonna say,
it.
what,
There's
you've
nothing
never
else
seen
there.
a
That's
picture
it.
about, the innate male desire to find a cool stick, but actually,
Yeah.
probably you haven't seen that on Twitter.
No.
No,
it-
have you-
it's
I
Two
love-
things that men instinctively desire: a cool stick and dig
And
a
a
hole.
sword.
Hang
And a sword
on.
sometimes.
I'm gonna find the picture.
No, the stick is the sword.
Yeah, it's
But
there.
also, this is a true fact. If you start digging a hole, dudes will just appear and help you dig that hole.
Okay, guys, we've had
I
this
don't know
conversation
why-
twice. We've had this conversation like 4 times already. We can't.
Have we? I bet we
Yes.
have.
Yes.
Shit,
It's like
man.
4th
We gotta
time.
get some new conversations. Anyway, you're getting on the boat. You're rowing back to Longrigan Lake.
I would like to
how
have
much of this story. That's a great picture. Thank you, Lucky. How much of this story do you want to communicate to Lady Pale?
Probably
we should-
everything barring the cult stuff.
Well, we should have probably meant that there was a wee bit of an attack on the convent, that otherworldly beings came to call, that we totally kicked their... Sorry, the carbonation got me. That we totally kicked their ass. But we probably should not mention what we were actually talking to this good sister Mercedes about.
I agree. I'm probably not going to bring up my own theory about how that happened because I'm not sure about it. So moving on.
No, I don't think that's.
It's not productive.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking something else. Should I have you guys roll? No, I don't think you need to roll lie.
We're not lying.
I think she can
all of it.
probably take you at face value. Lady Pale, kind of does get a more serious look on her face and says, in that case, I hope you will stay the night in my house, and you can set about your way on the Pilgrim's Path in the morning at first light. She kind of again looks up and slightly up and into the middle distance, despite the fact that you're under her roof. She stares at the sky and says, "It should be a clear day tomorrow."
We'll see.
I will dispatch letters, runners in the morning, to the Duke to inform him of these events. But I suspect that you will be able to give him your own report in due time. So yes. Anyway, yeah, it's still probably late afternoon, early evening by the time you get this all sorted out. Is there anything you guys would like to take care of in Logren Lake or talk about with each other?
Well,
nah, I'm good.
So
I got nothing.
Should I bring it up now or later? Yeah, better to get out of the way now. So, well, probably sometime this evening. What's everyone doing in the evening?
Hot bath.
Hot bath. Sounds good.
Not a bad idea, but I'm probably reading afterwards.
Nicola?
Yeah.
Logesh, what are you guys doing this evening? Do you just exist? Are you NPCs in the fucking corner who's not going to say anything until someone speaks to you?
Nicola is probably going to just fucking, I don't even think he wants to take a bath. He's just going to faceplant into his bed.
You know what? Fair enough. It's been a bit of a wild ride.
I think
I did not sign up for demon slimes.
I think despite, the shock and injuries and healing, I think Logesh will just take this time to just get a few practice swings with Argent Light.
Alright.
Get a good feel for the blade. If people want to do something with Logesh or ask him or anything, he's happy to talk or anything. Otherwise, he will try to get used to the feel and weight of it in his hands. Because it is unfamiliar.
Right. But in that case, Leslok, where are you reading? In the room, in the study? What's up?
I don't know I don't know if I'd be allowed to be in the study since
well, not study, but parlor.
Yeah, there's. Let me actually double check what I wrote about it, but. Let's see, there's a link. Swans. Oh, yeah. You just, probably a guest wing in the manor, so there's probably a common room or drawing room for guests.
Drawing room. That's what I was thinking. I am not good with the names of, mansion fucking sections and their intended use.
You should play House on the Haunted Hill.
Room, so it's the room where you go to be in private. So yes, you probably have like I said, a common area or a drawing room to be guests together in private, in addition to, public living type rooms in the Pale household.
Ah, yeah, parlor room or parlor is a reception room or public space. Okay. Where monks conduct the business with those outside the monastery, and the inner parlor was for necessary conversation between resident members. In the 18th and 19th century, having a parlor room was an evidence of social status. Okay. Anyway, but, Inos will, glide over to Leslok, rest an elbow on some conveniently placed furniture or wall and be like, "Hey, cuz, a crown for your thoughts."
You can save yourself the crown, but what do you have in mind?
Well, it's just been... Oh, shadows below. It's been a hectic month, hasn't it? And we're still not even home.
I have to think about, I think, the 8 different meetings I need to have, and then the week I'm back.
Oh, unfortunately, cuz you're going to have an unending number of meetings. I'm not entirely sure what the duties of running a, What's the lands of a Marquess called? A march?
March.
No, it's a mark.
A march.
The March.
The march.
March or Mark.
Yeah, the mark,
mark.
but you are going to be inundated with meetings, documents. Everyone's going to want a bit of your time. You're going to have to get really used to telling people no, and no one is ever going to be happy completely with the decision you make. I hope you enjoy
Sounds
that.
like you have experience on the matter.
No, not exactly. But I do talk to people.
Also, isn't your father like one of the 7 rulers of...
He is a
Thingy.
prince. He is one of the 9 princes, yes.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
what a council, but yeah.
Well,
That's still
probably
basically
he's senior most in a circle.
It is an equivalent ruling body.
yeah.
Fair, consider they're all very distinct departments, so yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, my father grabs to me endlessly about that. It's like, oh, because he made a policy here, this group is not upset, but when he tries to appease them, Group C thinks that they're being treated, given more favor than the others. And then when he just says, "Fuck it, none of you get anything," then all of them get pissed at him because they wanted something, and all wanted something anyway.
I'm just picturing when you say this. Inos is calm face at the bar counter, and his dad is just shit face going, "They don't listen to me."
Reminds me of a quote from a book also.
It's like, no, cuz I do not envy you. You're gonna have to be... Although I will give you a bit of advice beforehand. Delegate. Find people who are good at it, tell them that this is their job, they handle these things, and do not bring it to you, and you might have enough time to go use the bathroom during the day.
And you
Out
wonder
of
why...
character.
Yes?
You have... This may or may not be one of the reasons I've been making sure Logesh has been taking up Student of Law, LAW,
That's
to
fair
be
to
of
become,
assistance to you.
fair to become a sheriff. Yes, that's fair.
Not sheriff, but to help with the laws.
That's fair.
Just that stuff.
Drafting laws and, maybe putting them in, getting support for them, stuff
No,
like
you're right.
Laws?
Right, that's fair. Fuck, I have a politician's skills, not a fucking Senate member. God damn it. Because I have... Anyway. Anyway. But regardless of that, you had something similar to that to ask?
Yeah, something similar. Remember the whole thing about, me bullying you in a carriage to give me some of your land because I gave you a really good pen?
Well, technically, the dwarf matched up.
It was still bullying, cuz. I am not so...
Sexy bullying.
It's like... I'm shameless, but I'm not so shameless to not know what I do. I wanted to talk to you about... Let's table that for now. In this past month, I have... experienced many things.
True love.
Okay, that was a shot in the dark. Holy shit! That was a shot in the darkness.
I feel like I'm just like sitting in the back here, and then that comes out of nowhere. I'm like, whoop.
Sorry.
I've experienced many things, and I've come to understand that maybe, just maybe, I'm not saying it one way or another, but I might have potentially, baby teensy wince, been a bit of an ass. Just a little bit.
Oh, I thought more would be like you just wanted to take more time to actually think about how to like make tax laws or get everyone in Drixboro to actually go with the idea.
Oh no, that's actually very simple. I just give them what they want and look really sexy doing it.
Sexy tax laws.
All right then.
But I've come to realize that. Oh, how do I say this without sounding the absolute sap? Well, I've come to realize that there are things I want in this world and things I want to do, and if I just start going around bullying people or using really, really... Oh, what's the term?
Aggressive tactics.
Yes, aggressive tactics, exactly. To get them, I am liable to piss off more people than I make allies with. 'Cause you did hear that I got into a duel before we left Lampclair, correct?
Oh. No, I did. It was just between a lot of other things at the time.
It was only just, a small affair at the evening, but because I am open and free with my heart and make no effort to hide it, people have thought it is best for them to speak up about my love lives. Honestly, I find that very nosy, for lack of a better word. But in the realm of men, it seems that is the due course. People get to look upon your life, judge you for what you do, and act accordingly.
If I wasn't the Marquess, I feel like people would walk up and try to duel me just out of thinking I have the gall to court the princess. But
Well, that's the thing, cuz no matter what you say, you are the Marquess, and you're gonna deal with all the problems and responsibilities and headaches that brings, but you also get to deal with all the profit and benefits with it as well. And one of them is you being able to call pretty much who you damn please.
well,
Me?
unless we
Oh, sorry.
just to make this direct, if you don't have anything else in mind you'd want in exchange for the value of the pin, I'm still going to write up the documentation for Dragonsboro, and you can take it once you feel ready for it.
Inos is going to shake his head. No, cuz. That is... For lack of a better word, I don't think I need Drexborough anymore. I've come to understand a lot more things. I'm sorry, did Inos actually tell you his goal at some point? I forgot.
I don't think so, but you could say it again anyway. If you have, it's been a while.
I can say for sure you have not said you have not explicitly said it. I'll put it that way.
Because it's like, it might be, because I think the initial thing Leslok has in mind with that is probably different than when you're thinking it is.
Yeah. It's like, well, cuz you're always all asking, want to know what we're up to. Because I've seen a fair bit of the realm. I've traveled... I can't think of the name, that island that fucking Espada Oro's on all of a sudden.
Keltacy?
Keltacy, thank you. I've seen the sands of Keltacy. I've traveled... I've traveled, the breadth of the main continent. I haven't seen everything, but I've seen a fair bit, and I've seen how men live, and I've looked upon how my kindred live. And it's not necessarily equal. My kindred are usually content to stay in the Dragon's Eye and, dig tunnels, smelt ore, make beautiful arcs, and venerate our grandest of mothers. But if my kindred were decide to spread out into the world, would they find a place willing to accept them? Would they find places to settle down? Or is every scrap of land out there taken by men and held over with the iron fist of authority of the High King? Because I basically want to take my kindred and elevate them to not just a tribe of people that look sort of human, that kind of just live on the edge of the realms of man. No, I want the Iron Demons to be a nation unto themselves, that stands equally with men, where we both benefit from each other and one does not look down upon another. And at first I thought, if I just get some land, make some fancy titles, and declare ourselves, I don't know, the Demon Kingdom, that might do the trick. But I don't necessarily think that's the case anymore.
It'd be a first step, but if you think that's not the right first step to take,
no,
I won't stop you.
Well, you couldn't stop me anyway, cuz.
Not with your noodly nerd arms.
Because they're so noodly that he's a danger.
A threat. But... So, no. We'll table the Drakespear thing. I'm still going to want your support coming forward whenever I do... Inos makes like some wavy hands gesture.
It's like whatever I come up with.
Whatever I come up with. I'll still want your support and whatnot, but I think I need to become someone much more impressive, valuable, unable to be ignored before I actually start trying such things. Become better and cooler than even High King Wen, I think would be a good start.
Heresy.
Oh.
He wants that Dragon Widow.
I do want that Dragon Widow.
Well, you are my family, and...
What did Omega say? I just started muttering.
Yeah, what did you say?
We all
I thought Omega muttered something.
No.
Oh, okay.
I just said you have to be a cool guy, and then I probably yawned a little.
Yeah, I gotta be a cool guy.
I'm waiting for this conversation to end so I can get up and run around and take a break, but I don't want to.
I guess
pause it while you guys.
I guess to finalize this is well, Inos, you and your people are always my neighbor, and you are always going to be my family, no matter how things go.
Be careful about that promise, cuz it might come back to bite you in the ass.
I feel like tapping the sign of basically saying we are family no matter what.
Yeah. It's true, but here's the thing. Just because we're family doesn't mean that family doesn't do stupid things.
Yeah, and family can stop being family.
Yeah, but that goes against the sign, whatever.
Well, no, Inos saying that is trying to caution Leslok against just going with whatever Inos says he's going to do, and going maybe sometimes. Inos, I think that's a dumb idea. You probably should not do that. Or Inos, because I love you, I'm going to fucking bonk you.
Yeah, like
Not
you
that
do
any
for
of the other
Nicola.
characters know about this conversation, but that was a point that Inos raised with Crown Prince Alias about his younger brother was like, "Hey, Crown Prince, you have like people who support you and like you and will, maybe set you right if you do something dumb.
Yeah.
That is also an important part of, support and friendship and love and stuff.
Exactly. People need people to tell them when they're being stupid,
Yes.
or else they'll just kill themselves.
Yeah, so no, the Inos saying that is basically saying, like, yeah, I want your support, but if I'm doing something stupid, I want you to, like, stop me.
Of course.
Yeah.
I actually
It's
have a
just like,
thing in regards to that. A story to tell.
You can redo that. Well,
Sorry.
I have to actually figure out when you're doing something that's actually stupid.
Here's my bad. I burped weird.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I want to talk about. Make sure to get that all cleared up. Anyway, I'll leave you to your book. I am going to go gaze longingly. What's the weather right now?
Partly cloudy again. Rain kind of died out after the sunset. You know.
I'm going to go. Do we have like a balcony or?
Oh yeah. There's probably balconies.
Yeah.
You're in a waterside city. You can look out over the lake and see the moon reflected upon it.
Yes, exactly. Megan exactly knew what I was going to go do. Yes. I'm gonna go.
I know. I see what you're putting down.
I am going to go up on the balcony and look over the lake and the moon upon it. And if any winsome lasses should look upon me, maybe they will give them something to ponder over the next few days.
All right. Okay.
And Inos glides out.
Oh god, it looks like. Okay. Do I still owe him now, or is this whatever?
Oh no, you still totally owe me. You just don't owe me one of your fucking towns.
It's like I was part of the conversation is like I hope you have given me something else in your mind, but okay.
No, he's and it's just like no, actually, I don't have something in mind.
Oh well.
I'm gonna pause the recording for a second and be right back. Gonna go take a bio break and splash some water in my face.
Righto.
I don't know how we make things take less time because it's like.
Unfortunately, roleplay takes up time, my dude. Also, we always have to.
It is what it is.
I always feel like I'm just stumbling on it all the time.
No, not really.
I'm gonna be real. We have not taken that much time. We're like an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess we started later, so my sense of it's a bit off. Also, fucking daylight savings time.
Yeah, daylight savings time. I think everybody's sense is off. It's been remarkably not a long time, considering last session was like 4.5 hours. This session will not be that long because
I'm not in. I have like an hour and a half maybe in me, and I'm tapping at that point.
I'm also in a funk. I had to fucking get up and do jumping jacks a little bit to stay alive. So, we're schmoving, but I can get you to tread a sim. Anyway,
Aesthetics.
Sleep, wake. Pretty sure everybody's caught up on all their heckin' wounds and stuff, so don't you worry about that. But you wake the next day, you have your rented carriage and horses, and you're going to go up into the actual House Verity territory. I intend for that to rhyme, but that's just how it worked out.
Veritory, if you will.
So
I have something.
Oh yeah, on morning. What's
up? Konrad is not there when everyone wakes up.
Oh, it's the wolf man.
No, if you ask the servants, it just said that he set out for Trasim early in the morning, on foot.
Oh. That's weird.
Conrad, go ahead and make me I probably shouldn't be sense navigation because you can probably find your way to the mountain. It's pretty easy to see. Probably go ahead and roll body plus endurance. See how you're doing.
Okay.
But setting out on foot is fairly typical and is pretty easy to do because the Pilgrim's Path, as they call it, is fairly well trod. Yeah, that's what they're called.
Well, I think he's doing just fine.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
3 9s.
Yeah. you usually go by foot, as we've mentioned, because there's like switchback roads and steep paths you got to go. You guys have rented a cart, so it will take you a little slower. Moving on is somewhere between 4 to 6 hours. With Konrad going on foot, he's probably looking at the longer side of that, but you're not going too much faster. But you can work with porters and the like to move you along a little swifter. Most of your travel is uphill. There are a few cuts and passes which move through lower terrain. I assume you guys are gonna, light breakfast and then, carry on after.
I mean, if Konrad is just gone and no one knows where he is, no, I'm gonna ask people to start searching for fucking Konrad. I don't know where he went.
Konrad left a note. Sorry, I should have stated that in a better way. He would have left a note saying that he set out early in the morning.
Well, he set out in the early morning without saying anything. And when he left, I'm going after Konrad immediately without breakfast.
All right. Inos is willing to skip breakfast. How are the rest of you?
I'm not skipping breakfast because I will let the teenagers sort the angst out on their own.
All right, so Nicola's walking.
Yeah.
Logesh will go with Inos. His reason is, if Inos is this mad at Konrad for leaving,
it's not mad, more concern.
Actually,
okay.
I guess Inos doesn't need to take the cart with you because he brought it.
It is out of concern for Konrad. Secondly, the second reason he won't say out anyone, he wants to see Inos whip into Konrad, so he's going along.
Well, I guess the question is Marquess, eldest brother, how do you feel about skipping breakfast?
I wouldn't like to, but I'd rather make sure Conrad's alright. But I trusted that he'd be alright, because he's the guy that could go in the woods and be fine for probably a month.
It's Sir Indecision. What's your choice?
Remember the conversation you had?
Should you stay or should you go?
You can delegate this to us.
I mean, yeah, I'm staying. I'm gonna eat my food. You guys go find him.
Okay. All right. So it's me and the Marquis for breakfast.
All right. So, well,
so main party will wait long enough to probably eat a light breakfast and pack normally. As I said, Inos, you did actually bring your horse, so you can set out on your own easily. Logesh, are you also still going to go along on foot?
Yeah,
hey, Inos, can I hop on with you?
Not in armor, you can't.
Okay. Casual clothes it is.
It's
you can wear your traveling gear.
Yeah, no, like Onyx is a properly trained warhorse. He is trained to carry people in armor, but it's either like two people or one guy in armor, not a guy in armor.
Yes,
actually,
it's not a draft horse,
Oh my god, I have a genuine question.
Yeah.
How far can my homunculi be from me? Or my elemental?
I think he can
That's
be
not like this.
forever far from you. He's not bound by a range.
Okay, I will send them with, if you don't mind, I'll send them with you to act as a guard.
I don't think we're gonna need a guard on the Pilgrim's Path.
Just in case. I mean, he's not doing anything with me. Oh, well, no, I'm with the Marquis. Never mind, I'll keep him here.
Yeah.
That's fair. Whatever.
Sorry, we just got attacked by a shadow demon. I'm not taking anything off the...
I'm very well equipped for a shadow demon.
floor.
Thank you very much.
That is very true, but who knows what other things. Again, I am gonna it's just gonna be one of those moments I'm gonna look back to oh gosh, because did we we don't have the lamplighters here.
No, they're staying in port.
Like I'm gonna turn to Logesh and be like, are you sure you just pop the question, are you sure you just want to leave the Marquis by himself with Nicola?
And the homunculus with the metal...
It's not a homunculus.
The iron elemental. Who's very good at guarding things.
The Oriad.
Yeah.
You bring up a very, very good point.
Like, I know I'm useless in a fight, but...
It's like if you still are committed to coming, I won't say anything more, but I do want to put that variable into this.
No, you're right. As the I keep forgetting the name. As his guard, I will stay here.
Cavalier.
When you get there, he better have a damn good reason.
Well, I want to find
Because
out.
if he wanted to have a private conversation, there was plenty of opportunities. Unless he needed to mull it over, in which case, you'll sort it out.
His family has
find
the
him.
communication skills of the Bat family.
Well, also,
That
I'm more
varies
concerned
wildly.
about. I'm not entirely sure where he's gonna go and what he's gonna do when he gets to Tridecim.
Fair enough.
Let's get going then.
So, yes,
right,
Inos will
Inos.
set out at a gallop. He
Make
probably.
me a coordination plus ride roll.
Oh no.
Oh no, that's actually fine. Inos has ride.
Okay, so most of it are covered there.
It's not like super amazing, but it is 60.
A score.
Yeah.
And
The
Logesh will be
path,
there
like I
for
said,
breakfast.
is-
Cover leave
pretty
any of his
straightforward.
stuff here, or did he
There's-
take all his stuff with him?
2 4s.
So you can't take
No,
all
he
of
left
his
most.
stuff with
He left most of his stuff with the carriage.
Okay, perfect. I can pricking my thumbs you if I don't mind to you.
him. It's not pricking your thumbs; it's the other one. But yeah.
I got a set of 4s.
All right, you're good. There's no
Wait.
real difficulty.
Hold on. I was about to make a joke, but is Konrad actually an adult?
I
He's
mean,
18.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Let me check the.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 18.
He's been through the the debuting for like 3 years.
He's also the widest
Okay.
man I know.
The
Anyway,
Body five.
not gonna make a joke.
Body
Not gonna make a
five.
joke.
That's what he's referring to. So
yeah.
No, I know. It sounded like he said whitest.
No, he's not the whitest kids you know. He's the widest. Anyway, the road, which I have attempted to describe like 3 times. The Pilgrim's Path itself is dotted with numerous places for travelers to rest. There are many small monasteries and chapels. There are quite a lot of travelers' inns, and there are sometimes just clearings where people can rest. There are a handful of actual mountain hamlets and villages, and maybe a couple proper townships on the road, but most of them are clustered around proper resources, and the road itself is, mostly just the easiest path up to the base of the mountain. So there are, places where there are, like I said, chapels, hostels, stables, public houses to accommodate large number of travelers. There are places that are clustered around wells and springs for water, places that will pass you out, small amounts of trail food donated by the kindness of the church or locals. So, like, for both Konrad and Inos kind of setting out on your own, traveling is pretty easy. If you feel thirsty, you can stop at a well and, ladle out some well water or fill up your water skin. If you do need to stop to eat, there are, people who are handing out simple stuff, hearty bread rolls, maybe some like not quite kebab, but like just roasted spit meat, get a chunk of kind of thing.
Mhm.
So it's pretty simple to go through. Like I said, the terrain's a little rough. It's mostly uphill. Onyx is obviously not necessarily like super happy to do some of these climbs, but we'll manage it.
He's a good boy. I will give him many treats later.
Enos, you probably get a decent amount of aside glances from the pilgrims who are just like in, like rough spun, traveling robes and cloaks kind of a thing. You
Mhm.
are, on horseback.
Yeah.
But nobody really tries to stop either of you. Conrad, are you taking, or I should phrase that as, what weapons are you taking with you, if any?
stick.
Okay, your stout stick.
Yeah, this quarterstaff or whatever.
I think
Yeah.
the thing covered in cold iron studs.
No, that's
No.
more a club than stick.
No, you got an actual like walking stick when we
Yes.
first got there. So
Yeah, he did. I remember that.
Yes,
Actually.
I mentioned before. There's quite a lot in common. So yeah, there are plenty of people with similar stout walking items. Let's see. Conrad got 3 width. but he's on foot. Inos got 2 width, but he's on horseback. I mean, I guess in that case I would probably have make me a sense plus scrutinize, Inos. I'm assuming, Konrad, you are not laying low and trying not to be seen by people.
No, at most, like he might be with another group of pilgrims walking along, but he will probably outpace them eventually.
Yeah.
So it's just as likely that they find him on alone. So
And like I said, you can see in the distance, a few true mountain village hamlet. The industries here are, especially once you guys actually start getting up into the mountain foothills, ranching mountain goats and imported sheep, or even large oxen. You see grains that are used to higher altitudes and cooler temperatures: rye, barley, oats, that kind of thing. A few other mountain crops. On some of the lower slopes that you pass by sooner, you can see orchards full of stuff like grapes, peaches, olives, maybe even some distant, cotton fields in the flatlands. Yeah.
Yeah, so Inos, not good at scrutinizing. Can I just ask pilgrims along the way have you seen this man?
Yeah.
Fascinate?
Have you seen this large slab of beef?
Or graces?
Right.
Take your pick, graces or fascinate.
I'll go with
Which
fascinate. I'm
obviously
trying to
Graces
be
is subbed, but
trying to be personable. But
Sexy interrogation.
well, unfortunately, Inos is probably veiled in the morning, going around. Ooh! Almost dropped my controller. Yeah, so
don't do that.
fish would have gotten away.
yeah. Let's see, Polly.
Yes. Tense.
Just you wait. Eventually,
Actually, can I go with the 2s so I can do it quicker?
Yeah, there shouldn't be any difficulty to this. As said, Conrad's not resisting. He's not actually hiding out.
Yes, no.
actually-
In this situation, I believe speed is more important than height.
Not rolling stealth.
Yeah, but that's basically what I'm saying. You're not actually rolling stealth or anything to be out of sight. So yes, several packs of pilgrims have probably spotted a young man of Conrad's description at several points on their journeys. So if you check in, like I said, at inns, public houses, just little pavilions or clearings where people are stopping to take a break, get some water out of the well, kind of a stuff. Let your horse stop for a drink at a trough, ask some other passersby, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You can pretty quickly, like I said, catch up to his description. Since he is in plain sight, once you are pointed out to him, yes, you can perceive and catch up to Konrad.
Mm-hmm. So Inos will call out, Konrad! And
Konrad stops and looks back.
yeah, Inos will catch up to him with him and swing off of Onyx and be like, what in the name of shadows and flame are you doing, Konrad?
Pilgrimage to the peak.
Yes, that much is evident. I see you have I'm assuming what is Konrad dressed in?
Just like a tunic, breeches, and a light cloak.
Mm-hmm. And your walking stick, correct?
And the walking stick, yeah.
Yes, I see you have the ensemble down pat, but the better question is, why? We're all going to go together this morning, and you left without a word.
I had some things I wanted to think about. I do my best thinking while I'm active, so I left early so as not to inconvenience my brother in his schedule. I left a note.
And it, Enos, pauses about that, and then, looks about that, him and a horse, Konrad. It's all like, oh, let's walk and talk.
All right.
It's like, okay, though you have things to think about, and you do your best thinking while active. Okay, I get that. what are you thinking about, and why couldn't you have brought it up with any of us?
Because you're not Hydrus.
How do you know?
This is why Nicola's not there.
Nicola would never say that.
I've had troubling thoughts about how I'm not the best person. I'm trying to figure out how to correct myself.
What do you mean you're not the best person?
I'm jealous, proud, angry, that sort of thing. More than I should be.
So you're human. Cause
Plain.
take it to someone whose ancestry goes back to literally judging sinners. All those things, as long as they're not in excess, are fine. But
when I
nay.
put bruises on Nicola during the voyage, is that okay?
It's like, well, here's the question. Why did you put bruises on Nicola during the voyage?
Because he got his damn medal.
So you're
He
jealous.
gets fame and glory for, putting his life on the line. And I felt jealous, which I shouldn't.
But
No.
you did.
No, you should be jealous. Though how you acted out in that jealousy may have been the wrong way, but there was nothing wrong with feeling jealous in the first place. Jealousy, well, to an Iron Demon's perspective, jealousy is just incentive to better yourself. It's all like, well, damn you, Nicola, getting a medal. I should be better than that. I should be better than Nicola. I will do better than Nicola, and then I'll have no reason to be jealous anymore. That's like, yes, Konrad, maybe beating up Nicola for getting a medal is the wrong thing, but the fact that you felt jealous about it is not. We have emotions for reasons, cuz they're what make, well, us, for lack of a better word. And so, Inos, kind of trails off there as, he starts thinking about what he wants to say. And it's like, cuz do you know why Iron Demons our circles are named after, not our circles, why our clans are named after sins?
I assume it probably dates back to when you were keeping the doors to the underworld guarded, and it pertaining to the sins that you were watching over.
Close enough. I probably can't actually fully explain, but in order for Iron Demons to be able to judge properly, back in those days, we had to fully understand what sins were. We had to understand what would drive those people to do the things they did, why they did the things, and the results of the things they did. I can't say I have not been a judge. Inos says this weirdly, by the way. So I cannot necessarily, but I can guarantee you, just being a bit jealous and acting out does not make you a bad person. It just means you made a bad choice. When your time comes and you stand before the grandest of mothers and well, actually no. When your time has come, you will probably not find yourself standing before Dea Tacita, our grandest of mothers, and being counted for all your sins. It's not like that. And it's like, to err is to be human. It is what you do with said error that's important. And unfortunately, Konrad, I'm going to say it right now, going off on your own to have a big think by yourself is probably not the right one in this case. Because I feel you're probably going to get, well, weird ideas.
Or accosted by a flamboyant man in the street.
Weird ideas.
Yes, weird,
Sorry, what?
like going off on your own instead of, talking to everyone about the problems you're having.
running from your problems is a perfectly good idea.
Ignore him.
Shut up, you. I'll beat you
Quiet,
up
you're
next
not here.
time.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm saying that I just needed time to think about them. Too many things are happening, and I can't do it when, other stuff is going on.
Is this one of those things I need? Is that one of the things of like, I need my space? Don't come near me with like within 10 feet of me or something.
Not exactly. I just needed a day to think about it.
Then just tell us you need a day to think about some things.
That would delay my brother.
I'm sorry.
Being here is already a delay.
I mean, I'm about to say, I was like, do you see the carriage coming up here? No. Like, I don't know how long it's been.
I still have to interrogate Leslok, so
They're probably like maybe an hour behind you. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, no.
I have the segue ready.
It's all like, I'm sorry, cuz, but you think of yourself a bit too importantly there. Your cousin decided to, go on as normal. If you had just said, "Hey, cuz, I'm going to set out early in the morning and get some thinking," he probably would have said, "Oh, what's on your mind?" And you could have just said, "Oh, just some things I want to ponder." And he went, "Okay, we'll see you at the top. We'll meet here." Do you know where we're meeting, by the way, Konrad?
No, because I'm not under no assumption that I'm going to outwalk a carriage.
Cuz you don't understand. It is a carriage. It is going to go quite slow. It's going to take up a lot of the road. There's going to be pilgrims we have to wait on. The carriage, you might get there before the carriage. But you didn't consider that.
I just feel like Inos should say, "I'm gonna get there before the carriage."
Yes. You don't know exactly the departure time. You don't know what inconveniences may have been on the road. You went off with a weird idea. So, I have a suggestion. Let us wait at the next haunts.
Yeah, sorry.
Slayer.
Well, actually, no. It's like, so I have a suggestion. First off, have you had your time to think?
Yes.
It's like, is there anything you want to talk about?
Further thinking.
Not really.
Do I need to make an empathy roll on this?
Probably.
All right.
Go for it. Sounds like.
A single success. He's flat out fucking lying to you.
Well, this is why I'm asking if I need to make an empathy roll. If Aren wants to be like, no, he gets away with this, I'm gonna be like, okay. But actually, I'm taking my fucking duty here because. Do you have lie?
Yes.
You want to roll it?
No.
Okay. Then I believe.
Yes, I think honestly, very in character for Conrad to just
I'm just not
say
talking
something
about
that's
it.
not true, but not actually put the effort of hiding it.
Enos would just.
He's probably feeling extremely annoyed that his plan got ruined.
Well, so is that how Connor's feeling? Like super annoyed right now?
Not super not super annoyed. If Inos hadn't explained all of the reasons that he had come and gotten him, he would probably feel more annoyed because then he just felt like, oh, Inos just did this on a whim.
Yeah.
But he's just like, oh, he has some points. As much as I thought of all of them. So
Yeah. And so then I have a suggestion. We will continue we will continue our way to the top. We'll be silent. You can continue to think if you want to, or talk to me about whatever. I will hold no judgment, and I will not speak a word of what has been said to anyone else. If you want to just continue contemplating Hydras and other things, that's fine. If not, we shall travel in companionable silence, and upon reaching the summit, before the gates of Tridecim, we shall wait for the carriage and for the rest of the group. Does that sound fair?
That sounds fair.
Very well then. So, with that, Inos will, just he will look ahead and not say a further word and remain silent unless Konrad wants to speak to him. And he will just continue to walk. Onyx can walk too. He's probably, as soon as he said, Onyx is probably okay with this.
Yes. Well, if Konrad doesn't have anything he wants to say right now.
Nope.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch. So, honestly, I can't imagine that you guys are, so delayed. It's more just, you make sure to take the time that everything is packed and you have a sit-down breakfast.
Do I ever find the note? Just
You will also you would
already
also notice that Nicola is dressed very differently.
Oh no. What kind of differently?
I mean, he's dressed in a full Pilgrim outfit.
What would that entail?
I don't know if you remember this because he doesn't bring it up a lot, but Nicola is very heavily religious.
I mean, we've discussed how the pilgrims are dressed, probably very, very, honestly similar to how Konrad described his own garb. Very simple, tunic, maybe undershirt, sleeves. Very simple, trousers, plain, shoes or sandals, and
probably the only
rough spun robe or cloak.
Probably the only difference is that the back of his neck would be exposed, showing his tattoo. Oh god, I'm so bad with the gods. The god of the sea. Okeanos.
Yeah, so probably you would have a hood, but you would hood down.
Yeah. And his other two tattoos are naturally exposed because they're on his arms, so it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
I guess wouldn't you be covering your whole of your mechanical arm? Or is that right? They're not ready yet.
No, I'm wearing my actually no, that is a good point. Nicola would probably have his arm. You're not used to seeing this. Nicola would have his arm unbound.
Okay.
But he's basically just having breakfast, and over breakfast. So, my dear cousin, I needed to bring some... No, that was Italian. Why was that Italian? I don't know. Dear
you were
cousin...
a few seconds away from asking if you wanted to go bowling.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Or it's
Nico, let's go bowling!
I was more thinking it's oh wait, your last name is actually Pucci?
No,
Oh, jeez.
Dear God...
Ask the question.
My dear
away.
cousin, I wanted to speak with you on an important matter that is largely dictated by your desire and where you want me in your realm.
I could possibly just tilted my head is
Go on.
Right, to be very frank with you, I am, as you know, I have been mostly what's the term? Freeloading in Castle. What the hell's the castle's name? Stonehearth. But a few things I want to do would probably be best not done in the castle. Just on the chance that something were to go wrong. And as you know, I am not an unwealthy man. And I think it is time I had my own abode built. What I wanted to ask you is how close do you want me to the capital? Do you want me directly in the town? Or is just being within an hour's ride enough?
I think you're gonna have to argue that with the Architects Guild. In the meetings you'll be
I have
now
the
attending.
money to pay for a house being built.
No. It's about if they can get it done to your actual specifications. So you'll have to be attending the meetings. So
Okay, you're misunderstanding me. I can deal with the Architects Guild, and I know that will be a case. My point is, do you want me directly in... What's the town around Stonehearth?
It is Stonehearth. Technically, the Citadel.
Do you
it's
want
castle.
me
It's Castle
to...
Stonehearth, yeah.
Do you want me to build my town in Stonehearth, or am I free to build... And what is the port town?
Biden?
I think that's the body of water. We call it the Bident.
Yeah,
the town is
one
the
where,
Biden. That's also like
Lucy...
half across. That's also half across the country.
Oh, it is? Hold
Yeah.
on, I need to look at the map
Look at the
again.
pinned
We
map
haven't
of
been
Norlon.
in
There's the
Norlon
map.
for a
Check the pinned
while.
messages. There's the pin. There's the
Okay,
map of
I got
Norlon.
it. All right. Okay. Oh, that's even better. Would I be free to build my home nearer towards the anvil? I think that's right.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you thinking of it as a home, a mansion, a whole laboratory?
I mean, I keep no secret of my chemical studies. Largely, it would be a home/laboratory. Obviously, any medical necessities would bring me immediately to your call. But I do not wish to accidentally blow out a wall of Castle Stonehearth, as I feel it would be hard to replace.
I'm not against the notion, but I prefer you bring this up with everyone else of my council when we're back. They might have resignations.
Is the matter of my home that important? Okay. If that is what you wish, you are the Marquis.
Okay, on the table. Am I being stupid about this? I don't think I am, because I feel like depending on like the accessibility of the actual court doctor would matter to some.
You'd like the guy who can heal you to be close by.
Yes, Logesh also has the practical concern.
Yes.
You are my court physician. I would like you here to physic me.
Like, I like you to heal me from any ailment. But it's like
I need
I
you
need
to
heals.
distance.
Yeah, you should,
like-
I would bring up that point. It's like, and if some like monstrosity were to befell me, how quickly would you be able to return to my side?
Yeah, it's like example. It's like, but Nicola, I'll ask you this: if some ice dragon came and froze the entire castle, how would you help me and the other people if you're like over hours away?
By writing great stories of your deeds. But I understand the point. What the fuck am I gonna do against an ice dragon?
Again, I act that as the thing. You picked a really strange example there, my dude. I
understand your point. In that case, I will draft a plan for a building within Stonehearth once we get back.
I would say fell down some damn stairs, broke a leg.
Or I guess I ate
Poison?
some kind of I ate some poison root. I ate some poisonous herbs.
Yeah, because it's not like I wouldn't feel bad, but I'm sorry, I'm not doing anything against the ice dragon. What do you want?
I was more just
What am I
playing.
supposed to do?
I bet it just as an example of like something of like sheer intensity. But fair. I could have just said
No,
like a
I
giant.
get you, but
I mean, we're
Maybe
gonna
it's
like
just
we're gonna need to like fucking. I need a fucking hero playing in the background if that shit fucking shows up, my dude. What the fuck?
The sheer
There's-
difference between the serious conversation of Konrad's crisis of my personality and my needs and wants to I want to build a summer home with the comedic tones of yakety sax in the background.
well, no,
hell.
it's not a summer home. Nicola is literally homeless.
I mean,
he's-
no, you're not.
Well,
You
okay,
have
have
ties with your
quarters in the
family.
castle. I mean, you don't
In
own a
his-
house, but also,
his-
guess what? You live in a pre-industrial society. Not many people are homeowners.
No, that's very true. But his main point is he doesn't accidentally want to damage the castle. Like blowing up is a bit of a severe example,
don't even
but
know
like
there- there's something that,
accidentally melting part of the floor is a much more likely thing, and that's
And we should probably move
extremely
you to
bad
a,
for
we should probably move you
stonework.
to a basement.
Well,
then.
like out of character, we
have
are
some
probably
idea
about to
of
start
the
doing
but-
some redecorating in Stonehearth. If you want to put some extra funds to like maybe getting some lab space put in or dug out, you could probably swing that.
we could probably get you something
so
in the basement.
the other part is Nicola does want his own space because like he loved y'all, but sometimes
You also
It's a
want
bit
to.
much.
You also, how can you do heresy if no one you can't hide it?
I'm not good. You've
See,
talked
that's
me
what
out
I
of doing
was
heresy.
thinking.
You've talked me out of doing heresy. I'm only
For
going to
now.
do something extremely stupid and try and contact the Fae, but that's a different thing.
Yeah,
you should
that's
do that alone.
That's
But-
not heresy. That's
It's-
just a bad idea.
It's true.
You should do that alone though. But yeah, that's fair.
But no, it's like no, out of character. No, I think if you could probably just renovate or excavate some like additional space under Stonehearth is built on a giant fucking hill, right?
No,
Yeah,
but
it is
Nicola
a-
does
it is
want
a-
his own
a
house.
hill
Like
castle.
genuinely, he does want his own house.
I mean, that is
Plus,
fair.
I actually
Okay,
have
then
a
actually-
second plan. That
I have
was going
wait,
to.
no. I have
do
civil engineering.
Okay.
I-
I do have one other thing I have to bring up with you. Well, so do I.
Okay.
I
But I guess
do
it's
have one
why is
other thing I need to bring up with you.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry. I know we like to talk over each other, but we're gonna go off on a tangent, and I need to rein this in. There's another matter I wanted to talk to you about, because I don't want to go above your head in my business dealings. Yes, Loth. I'm planning on offering a partnership to one House Wayland on our return. A business partnership of sorts, in order for a favor. And I wanted to inform you of that. I will be. I think you can. You're not a dumb man. You're one of the smartest people I know. And you've obviously noticed the political climate in the world going. How do we say? Aggressive.
I wouldn't call it explosive, but I would say people are putting powder around.
Yeah, quite. There's an old phrase I learned back in Sunday school of when in a storm, ships that cling together often rise above the tides.
Or they smash into each other and everyone sinks to the bottom.
Yes, but that doesn't work with the phrase now, does it?
I
terrible.
love that early on, Omega's like, I don't want to use Sunday school. And then Dallas is like, fuck it.
Well, he also did say Sunday would make the most sense.
I don't think it would
mean, it's
colloquially be
literally the
called
day
it.
of sun.
Yeah.
That one's a pretty good one.
And Hydrus is the sun god.
That's how. I guess it'd be like seventh school, but that'd be funny.
Also, the blood god.
Regardless of what it's called, it
I
is
learned
important that we shore up alliances in our home country. And I've noticed that House Whalen has been particularly favorable with us, and I believe I can come to a very lucrative business arrangement for one Ike. And what is her father's name?
Is it also
Exit document.
I know he's Lord of the
Yes,
Anvil.
Oh, we haven't spoken to old man. Yes, it is. Edgard.
We have spoken to him once.
Edgard.
I believe I have a business proposition that would be extremely beneficial for Edgard and Eichhoelen, in that I'm going to offer my services in order for them to offer how do we say special order using materials that I can generate. One of which is very rare for anyone in our lands to be able to make.
Are you
So,
speaking
so
about a
One of
couple?
which,
So, like, I don't mean to cut in, but Dallas, I feel like you're speaking of something a little weird here.
You're like
Am I?
avoiding saying proper nouns.
Well, no, it's a thing of you're for all we understand. House Wayland is loyal to the Marquis, supports us in what we do, and I would like to assume does what they can to help do what they do to help us, and we do that in turn into them in turn. You know, that is the relationship between his lord and vassals. You seem to be implying that that is not the case, and you need to do a business deal to get even more support out of them.
incorrect.
Then please explain that.
So maybe I may have phrased this a little bit differently to be more in role play. What I'm more I'm talking. I'll drop the accent because it's out of character.
Yeah. Also
What I'm
use it.
Yeah, please.
what I'm trying to get out of this is that they are our strongest allies. So strengthening their house economically, they're one of our strongest allies. So strengthening their house economically would be a benefit to our own house in turn.
But here's the thing. You're not doing that as part of House Logi. You're doing this by yourself.
No, that's true. But I just wanted to let him know that I was doing that ahead of time.
No, again, but
Okay, but why? Then
So you told me not to go behind. This is a
no, yes,
thing you've said
I get
before.
that.
You've said
I'm saying
not
that,
to go
but
behind
why?
your back with things. You've literally said repeatedly.
No, I'm asking
that
why are
this
you
is
doing this as a single
Because
singular
this is
thing?
why I never come to you with my ideas. It's because every time I do, I get questioned.
yes, questions are good because again, like this won't put like I'm gonna be real. I don't know like how actual like political and stuff like here, but me, I love political games. I love tallying up favors and whatnot. This doesn't make fucking Wayland
Us get a favor. You get a favor.
the favor to the Marquess. That makes them give a favor to you.
And by extension, the Silver Tower, if you don't cut ties with them.
Well, no, it's already not.
No, yeah, but no, it's like no, like, but no.
It's
Here's the
kind of
thing.
free floater.
Like here's the thing. You are not making this business. You're not making that business this deal on behalf of the Marquis or on orders of the Marquis. You are doing this of your own volition, which means that any benefit from said deal does not go back to the Marquis. It goes to you. Yes, it benefits the
Group.
the House Wayland and group overall, but in the eyes of the peerage and whatnot, you have basically gone behind the Marquis' back, even though you have told him, and basically are
I make this deal on behalf of the monarchy. Sorry.
no, like
Well,
that.
this is the thing I was gonna say is like that is certainly something like you're talking about. As an alchemist, you can give House Wayland access to unique resources that they will benefit from, which will then in turn benefit your realm. This is factually correct.
Yes.
You are not employed by the Marquess or anybody on economic matters. You are the court physician, and obviously, you are a member of the house, so you can, speak to your Marquess about what you think is under there. But the matter of like the funding and economic distribution of your realm would be handled by we've talked about this before, jointly by members like your head coffer, which is the head of House Palak, and the head almoner, who is your dad.
No.
Like, you ask you the question, do I have the ability to make deals on behalf of the Marquess? Not on paper, no. The Marquess could do like he did with Inos and get you a letter and a seal, basically, to do business on his behalf, but that would mean that he would have to write out a letter and figure that out.
Yes.
And that's something I'd rather discuss with the almoner and the other people of the council.
Like no,
Okay,
like
so
that.
Out of character, I think basically what this sounds like is that Leslok, dials in on these questions a little. This sounds like a thing you guys need to like refactor when you get back to Teine or maybe on your boat ride back, because I think Leslok is raising a very good point in character.
No, that's fair.
Lucky is raising out of character that, like, if you're talking about something that's a little complex, you're basically talking about forming probably like a trading company or a chartered business.
Also, because you're not saying that I'm going to make them like special metal to make cool stuff.
Well, no, no, honestly, no. Like Dallas' idea of using his stuff to do that stuff is perfectly fine. I think it's a great idea to help them. It's just that he is skipping steps in the process, and I think that's the bad thing.
That's fair.
Also, I'm pretty sure neither of you have like a student of economics or anything, but we have discussed this previously. You need to be careful about your business dealings when it relates to the trade guilds, because those are technically an independent power structure.
Yeah.
House Wayland is very heavily integrated into the blacksmithing guild, but there are like rules. For instance, armoring. The Armorers Guild is separate from the Blacksmiths Guild, for example. So like, you would have to go to a separate trade guild if you wanted accredited masters to
also
produce, say, shields or armor of something.
I need to ask this actually. How much of a trade secret? I forget. Is it orichalcum or was it?
It's adamant. That's a trade secret.
If you
go to Oro and you hang out at the chemical columns, and be like, hey, you want to learn how to make orichalcum? Here you go, buddy.
Fair. Okay. I just want to make sure if it's like how many lines are we crossing there?
Expensive to make because
you don't know that you do not know that Nicola can produce adamant.
I was more thinking for orichalcum.
Yeah. No.
I will say this: Nicola sure is implying in his dialogue that he can do. He said multiple things.
Yes, it's like,
but
that's why I was.
The process of crafting adamant is not widely publicized. Its exact ingredients are not widely known because that would, get out there, because House Espada treats it as
sacred.
More religious than purely chemical, basically.
Then to wind this back to, I guess, the conversation. I guess to make this brief, because I feel like we've stumbled a bit and sorted this out, but this is a conversation we need to have with more than just between the two of us, and with actually everyone involving the actual matters of the mark.
Yes.
Like, I'm not against. I like your idea, but we need to actually sort this with everyone else involved to make sure that we don't cause any further problems along the way.
I understand. I was hoping I could avoid it, but alas,
no shortcuts.
We'll talk with them.
It's like
Oh no, Nicola just didn't want to talk with the almoner.
He doesn't want to talk about.
I can talk with your father on my. You don't have to be involved with it, but if you at least get everything involved, I can talk to your.
It's
father.
So awkward.
Well, technically, you'd have to be in the same meetings all the time because you are a court. You are now a court. You are a member of the court.
I feel like a less.
Yes, but those are big meetings. Big meetings are fine, but when it's like
a
four-person meeting.
Well, this one's going to be a big meeting.
Well, it's going to be bigger meeting. We're going to need several people, honestly, on this.
Okay. No. I had a feeling. Okay. Let me say. I had a feeling this is how this was going. Nicola was trying to avoid this.
Well, no, I'm also considering the fact that if we actually start producing orichalcum and maybe even adamant, I don't know if you actually plan on doing that, we suddenly are becoming a source of such goods where previously House Oro is doing that. I don't know if necessarily that's stepping on their toes, but...
No. Nicola would be finding himself drowning in marriageable cousins.
No.
No threat. No, I think he's going to be, I think, audited.
No, I plan to do this after, because orichalcum is not restricted in its use, and even adamantine. From what I understand, I am freely allowed to make adamantine as long as I tell absolutely no one how I did it.
But then the question is of how did you learn it?
That is a secret.
That is probably something
I have a backstory reason why I learned it.
You can't tell it.
Will
investigate.
But yes, I think Nicola is
Nicola did something very illegal. Well, not very illegal. Illegal.
He did some espionage.
Illegal, but more like just.
So I broke
You know.
into someone's room back when we were in the Capitol.
Okay, that is illegal. That is in fact illegal.
No.
But no, like Nicola Dallas has the correct read that the process for learning how to make adamant is a closely guarded secret. And it's a
Adamant is expensive, and that's why I said it would only be special order, but it's not like adamant itself isn't restricted.
He's also swearing not to tell anyone else so he will be the source, which means it's technically not a copyright infringement.
Well, yeah, that's why it'd be special order. They would literally say, "Hey, we got a special order. Can you come in and make us the metal?" And I would be, "Whoa,
Whoa!
I am here."
And this is though to kind of I think endpoint on this conversation. This is actually a thing where I think during this conversation you realize that like what Nicola is talking about is he is talking about a like chartered like trading or merchant company. He is talking about a business that would be a multiple guild group kind of a thing, right?
Yeah,
like,
which we'll have to at least get
need armorers and blacksmiths and probably some
maybe even like
smiths.
Yes, but we'll have to get
to like a talented cadre of different people from different guilds together to like.
Leslok will have to explain like
processing these orders.
We'll have to get like,
but could be a very reliable source of economic gain that is technically
we need to get
separate from, the other. What you call it?
Leslok would
ranges.
Yeah. Let's go to abbreviated things. We need to at least get the Almoner, the Lord of the Anvil, and fuck.
I understand. I have been told that I can sometimes be a bit late in sharing my thoughts, so I wanted to approach you before I got anything started.
I appreciate it. It's going to put my list of now 12 meetings I'll be doing in the first week I'm back.
Oh, you're going to have way more meetings than that. As someone who grew up,
you got in a day, cuz.
As someone who grew up being prepared to be a lord of a domain, and also had to live with one, it's a lot of meetings.
Okay, yes, but it's only the 12 I'm actually going to put to memory.
Unfortunately, your memory is eidetic, so you don't get to forget.
Oh, you don't understand. I get to choose what I get to keep.
This guy's fucking David.
Anyway, that sounds like we've kind of wrapped that up. Yes. So you guys are gonna head up the hill now. And your carriage ride is as I've previously described. There are parts where it's a little slow going. Leslok, would you be interested in hiring additional like porters and support?
Honestly, yeah, I want to like
local guides, porters.
Nicola will be going. I'll say this: Nicola will be going on foot.
Okay.
Like I said, that probably means that
you can at least wait till you get to the mountain
slower, but
I'm walking the pilgrim's path as a pilgrim.
Okay.
Don't worry, I have bodyguard as my fucking metal elemental JoJo poses.
Yes, I understand.
I feel like there's a very everybody remember there's a keen character point here where several of the characters go, yes, I will walk the pilgrim's path on foot, and Leslok is not as interested in that business.
I'm going to walk the mountain because it's more just an experience thing, but it's not like...
I mean, we don't got a choice on the mountain.
Yeah.
True fact.
Yeah.
Also, if it was a choice on the mountain, I would have walked anyway. But
these aren't Skyrim horses.
Damn it! You beat me to it. I was about to say, let's Skyrim our way up.
You're right. My point is, I was good to the mountain.
That's an extra special. That's extra wealth levels to get a Skyrim horse.
That's an enchant. That's a magic horse.
You need to buy the DLC.
We have to pick DLC.
Oh no, the horse armor.
That means that Inos is gonna have to make some fucking magic horse.
I bet I can make some horseshoes that can give a horse, give like whoever's they're putting like a fucking
climb score, flight score.
Probably
flight, but like get a master die in climbing.
Yeah,
you already know like 7 League boots gets you a master die in run.
Yeah, no, it probably has to be.
Very good question, Konrad. Are you wearing your 7 League boots right now? You do own some.
You should. Really, I spent time trying to make them.
Yeah. I do want to have a conversation with Lesher later, but we're going to save that so we're not completely fapping in all the RP.
Yes, no.
All right, moving on. Let's go.
Yes. So you guys, like I said, there's the lowlands start with like grain fields, orchards full of fruit. Maybe like I said, in the distance towards the flatlands, you can see like some cotton growing. As you look kind of like more southerly towards like the direction of like where House Ulfin is, like I said, big stands of pine and spruce trees. Lots and lots of foothills, crags, ravines that kind of go up and down. You guys see all the like traveler spots I've talked about again. So like, it's not quite an industry because at least on the Pilgrim's Path up to the mountain, people are not really charging for any of this. This is just how hospitality works. But like, there is a dedicated, cottage industry to supporting people going up the path. Like I said, there are wells, there are clearings where you can rest, there are travelers' houses, hostels where you can bench down. There will be people on the side of the road, like handing you, bowls full of nuts, dried fruit, cheese in waxcloth kind of a thing. And eventually you guys do catch up. The carriage will gradually catch up, though obviously eventually, like I said, Inos and Konrad will learn you are, despite, by the way, Inos, the nonchalance of Nicola about Konrad walking, you realize that he is actually further behind because he decided to walk. But you guys do kind of like group back up at probably like the last, traveling stop before the city. You guys kind of come up over a rise, a tall hill with a shallow cut in it, and actually see, properly. You are within seeing distance of
Camelot.
Not quite.
It's just a
But
model.
close, yes. Mount Trone, which is, even from this distance, you guys are probably still like, several 100 yards or more away. You can see the mountain goes up, and then it does not do like most of the dragon spikes do, which end in a sharp peak. It is. What?
It's a sneeze.
Bless you.
The phantom pine pollen got to me. That resin, that pine sol.
Phantom.
But no, the mountain is flat. Not like, smoothly flat, but like clearly a truncated, plateaued top. Not quite a snow line because it does stop short, but you do think that from this distance, the upper reaches are like just above the tree line kind of level. So it's almost like a little bit like a bald mountain.
Okay.
The city itself is quite breathtaking. Like I said, physically probably more spread out than Stonehearth because it's clustered around not one big hill, but several hills and the actual like lower slopes of the mountain itself. But is probably not quite as densely packed. You can see, I think it's safe to say that the city is maybe a modern architectural wonder.
Rad.
Very distinct from what you would think of as the alpine housing in Norlon. The flat areas are awash in, solid stout buildings of sandstone and marble features, brick accents and terracotta accents, iron and brass frames, arches, domes, columns everywhere. Like, I'm talking like what you would think of as like classical Italian-ass architecture. Big domes, big arches. Lots of buildings are framed up to try and reach quote-unquote higher glory. So most buildings you see are capped with either 7-pointed stars or sigils of the sun. Once you actually get up onto the higher slopes and terraces, buildings are maybe a little more plain, a little older, but are still like very sturdy. They're made from like a concrete base, stone blocks. Facades are kind of like warm colors made from local plaster. And every part of this city is in a wash with statues, churches, and fountains, or all three.
Ooh.
You cannot throw a rock without hitting a statue, a fountain, or a church. And if you throw 3 rocks, you might hit all 3.
So we got the money to build like 36 cathedrals.
It is, like I said, very strong vibe to this town. The streets are often a little steep. There's a lot of cases where they're not even roads, they are stairs. There are a lot of, public aqueducts and water lines. And there are also something that would be a little bit of a novelty to you guys. There are basically, at certain points, cargo elevators or cable cars.
Whoa.
There are spots where they have like wooden gearlock systems to raise up platforms to move cargo, or carts, kind of like mine carts. And yes, mine cart rails would be not a very like sophisticated system, but you would be familiar with the idea of putting a mine cart on a track in this time. It's just, without like the steam engine to push it. It's, you're not at locomotives. But they use cable cars, like I said, that are drawn by like oxen.
Oh.
So this is a like fairly unique vibe to Tradisim. There's a reason why they call it the highest house. So the lower levels of the city are they require the least travel and effort. So these are more of the hospices, hostels, inns, and taverns for travelers and pilgrims. All kinds of places where you can go, and any craft or industry that doesn't want to fucking go up a mountain slope. So smiths, carpenters, masons, many fine sculptors are down here, and going on around there. On the upper slopes, you guys can see shops and homes of long-term residents, merchants, scholars, lots of bunkhouses for aspirant priests. There are, on these terraced streets, there's a few terraced gardens. There are some buildings that are basically, cafes or wine bars. Like places where you can go to relax, be sociable. And again, chapels, shrines, churches, statues, everything. But also, at a point, there is just a, measurement on the side of Mount Trone itself where the city just stops. Buildings do not go higher. Kevis would explain, and you can probably roughly eyeball from where you're kind of overlooking the city. By pontifical decree, no building may be higher up the slope than the tallest spire on Astrakhan Hill.
Oh.
So, and Astrakhan Hill is one of several hills that are kind of like foothills that are clustered around the base of the mountain, which I will describe in a second. But hold on, I'm going to blow my nose.
You gonna blow that nose?
Don't know what's irritating my sinuses. Ugh. It's been a little cold and rainy today, though. But, yeah, so once you get to a certain height of the mountain itself, slopes, natural pines, you can probably vaguely make out the rough outline of what they call the 1,000 Steps, because there are, hey, guess what? There's more statues and plinths and stuff, stone benches on there. The last thing I would note before I probably describe the hills is much like you saw in Pale Harbor. While there's obviously an air of, I want to say, both religion and artistry in this city, like I said, there are lots of studios for artists. Like, you probably see studios or schools of people actively working, painting pictures, carving more statues, shaping, like, religious accessories out of, like, gold or brass, that sort of thing.
Seems more high quality here.
Yeah. There's also just a vibe of like superstition and occultism. There are fortune tellers, reading palms, dealing cards right out in the open. They have the little table with the fucking cloth in the alleyway kind of thing. There are many shops of various traditional medicines, which those of you skilled in herbalism among you would note. Everything from like actual medicine to just, your joints will be perfectly fine if you take this shot of powdered deer antler. Kind of a thing. And so many businesses selling small charms, tokens, and religious amulets. Like, if you guys can walk a block in this town without somebody putting like an amulet or something or a rosary into your hands, you're lucky. Or you're really good at telling people no. Like, and also again, the pilgrims, they're everywhere. Bowls for alms, which turn to begging bowls. People congregating in the streets, preachers, doing calls to prayer in the open courtyards. It's just a vibe.
Not sure I'm particularly fond of this vibe.
I mean, I feel like it's a very different approach to religion than how your people's culture handles it.
Yeah.
I dislike some of it.
But, the people here are within, my favorite analogy, rock throwing distance of the divine, so...
Rock.
Well, let's try not to throw any stones.
Yeah.
But,
Especially on glass houses.
Yes.
Well, no promises
Kevis
there.
will caution you, some
At
of you
least
are
don't
already
cast
this way,
the
but he will
first
say
stone.
to perhaps avoid ostentatious displays of wealth. Make sure to go plainly under cloaks or robes of pilgrims. This is a city where people who have nowhere left to go travel. Almshouses and hostels will take care of the destitute, but many pilgrims who become permanent residents make their living by begging, selling cheap goods. Moneyed nobles will attract attention. And some pilgrims are overcome with religious fervor. They can act oddly, I guess is the
Irrationally.
best way to put it. They may try to throw themselves into service. They may ramble. They may be just overcome with themselves and not paying attention. So I would say to mind yourselves and not act ostentatiously.
Inos just kind of purses his lips, like,
Rudder nods.
Yes, Enos, that means you have to tone it down.
Well, unfortunately, no matter what, unless we're going to get something to hide his horns and tail, Inos stands out regardless. The only thing I can do is put on a
Throw
veil.
hooded cloak.
Yeah. Probably a good cloak, yeah.
Yeah. No,
Um,
Nicola. Not only does Nicola traveling like a pilgrim, he does not have any of his money on him, so.
You look like a pilgrim. So, there are, as I mentioned offhand, Conti talked about it to you, there are 7 major hills that are kind of like different districts of the city clustered around. The obvious one is the Astrakhan Hill, the seat of the Church of the Seven. It is home to the Archcathedral of St. Veritas, home to the Holy Seat where, the Hierophant operates his pontifical throne. It's got the Pontifex's residence, which is known as the Astrakhan Palace, the Sacred Curia, the Clerical Council, and also a bunch of other smaller churches and chapels just everywhere. The Astrakhan Hill is also dotted with chapter houses and offices for monastic and clerical orders. There are several hospitals, seminary schools, libraries, and so on. And you would also know that under the hill into the hill itself are built sprawling reliquaries and catacombs for some of Troycrone's most sacred dead.
Oh,
It's a
fuck,
big
I spaced.
holy hill.
Gosh, I only remember half of that. Oh, God, no.
I wrote a bulleted list, so I can just copy this stuff to you later.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Probably the second most interesting hill is Speculation Hill. This is the furthest from the heart of the city, so you can probably barely see it from where you guys are approaching. This was where Veritas and many of the other astrologers did their ancient stargazing and the like. It has her original stone calendar, which would be the first of its kind in Troycrone, and is at the heart of the Astrologue Observatoire, the Great Observatory. You can probably see its tall, spiraling observatory towers from quite a ways away. So there is a university and library here. Also, all manner of other studios, smaller schools, and workshops, laboratories, etc. Where you will probably be making your first stop is Certainty Hill, the Hill of the Faithful, because that is where the Palace of Fidelity, where House Verity is. It would probably be due for you to go call upon the Duke.
Yes.
Yep.
That's
So
Kefis'
this
dad,
has a
right?
sprawling palace villa, much more in common, though, with a library or church than a noble estate. The walls are lined with, shelves full of books. There are plinths and displays with artifacts, relics, busts, and statues, etc. There you can also see on the lower levels of the hill, there's a decent amount of court buildings, barracks for men-at-arms, estates and guest houses for nobilities. Kefis says that he is sure his father will put you up in one of the blocks of guest rooms in the palace. And if not, I'm sure there's a library wing somewhere no one's looked at in a few decades. We can put you in.
Library. Huh.
Oh, actually, I thought we were just
don't
going to say
worry,
hi and go
Konrad, our
find...
libraries have couches. You get to sit and read.
I mean, you have to understand, Inos, it's one of the great leaders of these countries visiting another one. It does require some circumstance.
Well, I suppose that's true.
You should know by now, humans love pomp and circumstance.
I think we did mention that we were going to impose on Kefis's father.
Yeah, no, but I kind of...
At the very least, it's only polite.
It's true. I just had I don't know why, but I had the strange notion that we would just pop in to say hello, and, take on
Scalper.
leave. Yeah, Scalper.
If you want to explore the city, I suppose you could. There is, though, the matter of... Well, at least last I checked, I don't believe that the House of Logi has a permanent guest house in the city. There are probably some travelers' inns that are not fully stocked up, but I will admit you may not find them to your normal levels of comfort.
I
I
see.
suspect that there are a few staffers at the Palace of Fidelity who would be quite pleased to have guests. I must admit that mine own house is not always the most sociable. We do tend to hide out upon our mountain and, gaze upon our religious relics.
And the stars.
Oh, the view of the stars. Well, for that, you have to go to the observatoire. Maybe tonight we can get in.
I see.
You may have to fight a few people for a good spot on the balcony, though.
Oh, I'm sure Konrad's up for it.
I'm not
But
unfamiliar
yes.
with sarcasm.
The
Shit, he's on to
other
you.
remaining 4 hills are not as important.
Oh,
but
that's
at
all
least
I've
are pointed
got.
out. There is
Nothing
Fortitude
left.
Hill, which guards the main approach to the city. You guys are kind of, like I said, taking not the back way, but like one of the side routes, so you don't necessarily have to pass directly through it, but there is a Castle Cumdunum on it. There's where the Order of Temple Knights and several other knights are based. And, the town guard, and you would see expected support facilities, smithies, stables, that kind of stuff. There is the Mercatine Hill, the Hill of Markets, which is basically what it described. It's one of the broader, flatter hills. Hosts a large market square, the only place where you can put an open market square in a town like this that is so vertical. So there's a lot of bustling markets and industries here. Tradisim and Trone is best known for making candles, soaps, incense, musical instruments, pigments, but also cloth and clothing of many types. Also, God knows, plenty of bookbinders, stationers, ceramics, stoneworks. The Glassblowers Guild has a presence here, but is more tied towards the Observatoire. And because I know somebody asked about this, the wines made in Tradisim are not necessarily super strong, but they are, sweet and inexpensive, so you might find a few sellers of that.
Hey, we get some Manischewitz, we'll be fine.
There is the Amphitheater Hill, which is, again, pretty simply named. It has a large public theater and a soft bowl at the top, which is where public forums and, announcements are handled. There also can be performances of music and theater there. There are some smaller artist studios and schools on the rest of the hill. The most interesting one is probably what is now known as the Quarantine Hill. This was originally a ward for basically people who were exiled within the city, the poor, criminals, the excommunicated. During the Plague of Red Death, which preceded the War of the 13, it became a giant sick ward, basically. And now the hill is mostly dedicated to graveyards, a small handful of residential blocks, and a decent numbers of hospitals, hospices, and memorial chapels.
So is that the place where I would likely have to go for the surgery?
It would probably be a place, yeah, unless you want to bother the Astrakan Hill itself.
I'd rather not.
Let's
I wouldn't feel
Yeah, we're
comfortable
also
doing
at
that.
3 hours.
Ooh.
I can abbreviate your meeting with Duke Tellez. The Duke does, yeah, I don't even make you roll empathy. You guys know he's not like happy to receive a formal visitation, especially because you haven't even gone home yet. Like, he literally saw you like 2 weeks ago. But if nothing else, Duke Tellez is absolutely perfectly proper and polite. He offers, as a good host, he offers you use of his guest quarters while you're in the city. You do not have to accept. Like I said, you could find in rooms, but they're free. It's free real estate.
I will graciously accept.
Yeah, no, it's...
Especially because I didn't bring money.
He will also offer to send word to get you guys to go into Astrakhan Hill, because you guys do want to go
Yes.
up there. You guys would probably not know exactly where you want to go, but he can point that you would probably want to go up to the courtyard, basically the open space at the top, because you'll be either going directly into the Archcathedral or into one of the many support facilities
Okay.
for your questions. He does caution you, first of all, when it's actually times for mass, you can just go into the chapel, but the public will be flooding in, so it can be a little busy. People are not supposed to wander the halls unsupervised at all hours. He does say that a direct meeting with the Hierophant is unlikely on such short notice. He's a very busy guy.
Well, that's fine by me.
Yeah.
I wanted to avoid that, so that's great. That's the Pope, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Hierophant
no.
Artifacts.
Yeah, we saw him recently. We don't need to see him again.
Yeah. There will probably be some high-ranking bishops or cardinals who could see you around, or other members. I did actually do a little organizational work, which we will not get into right now. But I have kind of actually figured out a little bit of church structure. The main thing they've got going on is a bishop leads what is called a bishopric or a diocese, which is basically the religious equivalent of a province or county. They if you're the lord of a certain area, your equivalent is the bishop is the head of the church in that zone thing. The archbishops are in charge of the largest and oldest parishes in bishopric, but the church is like any other organization, has basically departments known as secretariats, which are headed by a prefect, and have senior priests. These handle various departments such as religious law, the Department of Scriptures, diplomacy, charity, missionaries, supporting the bishops and the pontiff. There is a secretariat of saints. They have a department of saints.
Okay, cool.
So yes, those are led by the prefects are called from a rank called prelate, which you've heard mentioned before. That's one of the guys that was suggested by your previous bishop to take over as the new archbishop of your region. Which I should clarify. Since I did some of this work later, that guy should have been called an archbishop because he's in charge of the core Logi parish. But the prelates are styled Monsignor. It's also funny you keep making jokes about auditing.
That's probably
the church has
church's
barristers
job.
and lawyers basically who are also priests. They have legal training in addition to their priestly duties. I actually wrote down literally a couple weeks ago. They're usually styled auditors.
Oh.
I say
That's
that
actually what they are called.
I say that it's only a half joke when I say auditors because one of the many influential one of the actual games that got me into Burning Wheel was basically a Crowns kind of game where the main country sent to this outpost of a place being established. They didn't send anyone important, they just sent auditors. So that's just always stuck with me as
It's a good word. So yes, Duke tells us, sir, that you will find, cooperative priests, because he doesn't say it out loud, but I did mention they have also have a church department of diplomacy. They have priests and senior officials whose job it is to basically, like, I don't want to say, like, pamper, but, you know, like, handle nobles. He does say that Kefis can act as your guide in the city, but he does make sure to tell him, you know, hey, Kefis, make sure you check in with the Observatoire and keep up with your studies. He would say probably, like, if, you know, it would take maybe a couple hours. And you guys, like I said, you took the slower route, so it's probably still, like, you know, late morning, noonish. So, you know, may take a couple hours to get a response from the hill, so you're free. I will describe the guest quarters, but I think we'll wrap up there because I do have a couple of, bits while you're in Kefis's house, and I have some other stuff there, but I don't want to start new NPC interactions when, like we said, we've been going for about 3 hours.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I feel like my brain was not here for the last, like, 20 minutes. I'm really sorry.
There's a lot of information, my dude.
Like,
We're essentially in the Vatican.
I got that.
No, you're in Rome. This is so long. Sorry, hold on. I gotta do this, like, bullet point by bullet point. I'll do that after the session ends, not to bog it down. But I will copy my bullet point notes on the 7 hills. The main thing is I just want to say your guest quarters are kind of respectable. They're maybe a little austere. You have a fountain courtyard. So, like, you're in a little wing of the palace that has, like, a little open courtyard in the center. You got a little quad.
That's rad.
There's separate rooms for everybody. There are some kind of, like I said, a little austere. There are some, you know, stone and clay facades. You see, you know, there are a couple of, like, oddball busts of just, like, you know, statues of guys that you look at and you're like,
that's dude.
Who the fuck is, like, Quintinius the Sixth, you know, the fourth bellmaster of House Verity, you know, kind of a thing. Or some guy who, you know, wrote about numbers or something.
Not important.
There are also shelves full of, probably much to Leslok's enjoyment, obscure texts, atlases, and star charts. They make so many, they gotta have a place to stick them. Your, like I said, slightly austere nature is going to be kind of, you know, kind of like restricted back because they're going to have a lot of elaborate rugs and blankets. There are plenty of incense burners and also bowls of, like, potpourri. And there are a handful of historical paintings. Most of them seem to be of religious scenes, but, you know, there's some paintings and stuff. And you do definitely have, like, you know, across from the courtyard on your rooms, you're going to have several rows of balconies, which, depending on, like, which facing you get, will be perfect to look at maybe the hills and the mountain itself, frame the sunset or the night sky very strongly.
Rad.
And, you know, like, big, wide windows, like I said, with strong balconies, very sturdy. So there's a lot of, you know, stuff to go in. And that's where we're going to end up ourselves.
All right.
So, good sesh, everybody. Everybody should get their basic 2 EXP.
Good job, everybody.
Fortunately, we did not get to the part where Inos got introduced to a lot of people, so you don't trigger your disadvantage yet.
I'm hoping some people are weirded out and they want me gone. I would like some conflict.
Don't you worry. When I will tell you, you will 100%. I don't even got to roll, though I will probably roll some checks. There are going to be some people who are not going to like you when we actually meet NPCs.
Excellent.
Next session.
I didn't do my mission. I need to go fucking dig into records. I feel like most of our not gonna like me doing that, regardless of how it goes.
Well, we'll see. You gotta, you know, you can get up in there.
I guess it just turns out you just can't do it. You can't just go in. You gotta get them like let you. So.
Look, I'm just gonna go.
You're talking about, like I said, the Vatican. It's like you can't just roll. It doesn't matter if you're you know, can't just roll up to the Pope's house. You got to be like, hey, is it cool? Are you guys free?
Yeah, I'm not trying to roll. I just want to. I want to read some records, y'all. I want to learn about some saints, maybe some saint relics.
Just
I need to go
stuff.
Also, I'm slightly curious what this holy chalice is now. I didn't ask about it because I feel like we'd already taken up too much of the good sister's time, but
don't you worry. I can relate to you, the legend chalice, a different time.
Yes. But-
Was it the chalice in the palace?
It was probably in a palace one time.
Did it have the pellet with the poison?
I'm about to slap Dallas. I don't know how. How do I mail someone a slap?
You just write him a letter and it's like the black spot he opens up and it's just a hand turkey of your hand.
And it's just the text, you have been slapped. You are now in pain.
It has to be like
That's like
it has
those
to.
old-fashioned fucking email chain games.
Yeah.
Playing
It's
chess by
the
mail
old-
type shit.
It's the cartoon gag of you open up this very thin like letter and it just a giant boxing glove just comes right out.
Or
yes.
Lucky, the way you could do it is you mail it not to him but to his family. So when they open it, it says like, "Please slap," said Dallas's name here.
Yeah, but then
with
we have
this.
to get involved with Dallas's family of why I'm slapping him. No.
I mean,
Yeah,
but
it's more
but that
complicated.
anxiety
I
is
will also
also
say for next time, in addition to the Astrakan Hill, and obviously like the Duke does not like. There's no permission to just go up the mountain and like go to the thrones. It's just the kind of thing where like he cautions you that like you're probably gonna want to prepare a little for that. It's a little bit of a hike, and you want to make sure you're not going at peak hours. Kind of a thing.
I'll go at midnight watch.
Okay, you can go at midnight.
I had to go check where
only
the
other thing
Word
is
of-
like while you guys have free reign of the
Yeah.
city, depending on if you want to get stuff, is if you do want to pop by the observatoire.
Was the observatoire where they were discussing things as modern ley line theory?
Yes.
Yeah, then I'm
I
probably
definitely
going
want to go to the.
I'll do that too.
Yeah, because I...
But I also
Well,
have
I'm
to
just a
go check where the
nerd,
actual,
so I
like,
want to go there.
I also have to go find where the Phernaxia Covenant is and so on. That just
It's
probably said already, but I just forgot.
I know this was only like a
It would be up
detour,
there.
but the more I think about it, we have a lot of things to do here.
Yup.
I mean, it's one of those things where you decided to come here because you're like, I'm sensing some sort of, I mean,
Plot
as
threads here,
Sister
so,
Mercedes
yeah.
phrased it, some sort of occult and sublime vibe. We need to arm ourselves better.
Yeah.
We literally don't have a fucking bishop right now.
We're being attacked by Wujidi magics.
And we can't even talk about that. I think there's actually like a fucking witch conspiracy happening.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not
that,
witch.
yes, that is like
I
a
can't
very
say
valid
that.
concern.
I can't say that until I'm
There's a
off
fucking-
this fucking island.
No,
There's
it's
some
not
weird
a
shit
witch.
going on.
It's not a witch conspiracy. It's a snake god cult. Get it right.
Well, we don't...
Also,
look-
witches
Are
in
they
them.
separate or are they the same?
yeah, that's the thing. It's all like...
Good question.
Like, we might have just
Well,
pissed off
considering
Mariposa Marsh, and she went back to maybe, I don't know, Charlotte the Witch, and be like, hey, these guys were harsh on my vub, and Charlotte was like, I got you, fam. I don't like those fucking
Considering-
Logi peoples anyway.
Considering the witch had a bunch of snakes, I think they might be related.
Whoever's more just
She could have just liked
I
snakes. You like snakes. Are you connected to a snake cult?
I also think
define
I also think there's just
connected.
people in the
I'm
Bear Cages
involved
teaching
with
people
them,
how to be
yes.
summoners. I just think there's people teaching how to be summoners in the Bear Cages somewhere.
Maybe. It's very...
I mean,
it's
it's
very
not-
concerning.
that one I feel like is just a very strong theory. Technically, you have evidence
mean,
of that. Somebody
cousin,
called Mariposa Marsh.
You can learn sorcery.
Yes,
You do know
but like
this, correct?
yes, but like doing the pact is something usually you want someone to walk you through.
Well, anyway.
Well, and also, I mean, you can't before we end the recording. To finish Dallas's point, just to make sure the audience is looped in as well, and the players. Yes, you are allowed to learn sorcery. The family that was in charge of Summon is fallen. They are defunct. Their assets were seized. So,
And they
like,
were in the Bear
okay.
Cages.
it's one of those things where, like,
That's fair.
yeah, technically you can learn Summon Craft, but like the whole like tradition and formal schooling has kind of been scooped up from under you.
yeah, it's just...
Anyway, everybody get your EXP. I don't
I
think
got me a-
anybody yelled at me about the finishing a mission, so you've
I
got
wrote
your
a
couple
note.
of dots. So we're gonna catch up with some stuff next time. Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you for more
Same bat
church-based church
time,
adventures.
same bat channel.
Bats.
True.